Chapter 61. Chun Qingchuan laughed loudly and said, "Do you think I will lose?" Chun Qingchuan naturally felt that he wouldn't lose, because his experience and confidence made him look down on Tang Yi from the bottom of his heart. Song Qin smiled and said, "Uncle Chun, since it's a bet, there must be a winner and a loser. Let's talk about it in advance. In order for this bet to be effective, we only want the 3 souls herb, right?" This. Chun Qingchuan was stunned. The 3 souls herb was very important to him. How could he use it so easily for a bet? But if he didn't bet today, he might lose face in front of the younger generation and be looked down upon by others in the future. Chun Qingchuan was confident in his superb medical skills and his mastery of medicinal herbs over the years. He didn't believe that a mere kid could really beat him. Chun Qingchuan snorted coldly and said, "Let's bet then. If I lose, I will not only bring the 3 souls herb to your door, but I will also personally apologize to this kid. But if you lose, girl, don't blame me for being ruthless. Even if your grandfather were betting with me today, I wouldn't show any mercy." When Song Qin heard this, she immediately felt hopeful. "Uncle Chun, since we are betting, we naturally shouldn't be concerned about relationships. And I also believe that we will not necessarily lose, and you will not necessarily win. I just hope that Uncle Chun will not go back on his word." At this time, a teenager beside Chun Qingchuan said, "Our Qin family has always been true to our word when betting. We are as good as our word. How could we lose the face of our Qin family because of this junior?" "Don't worry, Miss Song." Song Qin nodded. "The Qin family's reputation is naturally very good. Even I have admired Uncle Qin's morality since I was a child." "Okay, don't flatter me anymore. Since it's a bet, there must be a time limit, right?" Chun Qingchuan said directly. "Time?" Song Qin didn't know what to do for a while. She understood that the reason why she had bet with Chun Qingchuan was entirely to protect Tang Yi. But this time was not up to her to decide. She looked at Tang Yi behind her. For a time, everyone's eyes turned to him. After a long time, Tang Yi finally spoke. 3 days. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the room was dumbfounded. This kid is crazy. He actually set a time limit of only 3 days. He doesn't even have enough time to run away in 3 days. Yet he still dares to boast here. If he said 1 month or 2 months, I might believe him. But now Elder Chun is completely unharmed in front of us. It's impossible for him to suddenly get seriously ill in 3 days. No, it's not impossible. Such nonsense is completely impossible. Everyone stared at Tang Yi in a daze. This kid who dared to set a time limit was really ignorant of death. If Miss Song hadn't been here today, everyone would have wanted to go up and slap this kid twice. He dared to say such rebellious words. They thought that Chun Qingchuan would be furious, but suddenly a calm laugh came from the room. 3 days it is, kid. You set this yourself. Young people are arrogant and rude, but one day you will pay the price. But at your age, this price is enough to make you unable to turn over for the rest of your life. All right, today's gathering ends here. I have something else to do, so I'll take my leave first." Chun Qingchuan didn't want to stay here any longer. He came to Song Qinling's side and said in a low voice, "After 3 days, prepare the Ninggu jade pendant. I will come to get it myself." After saying that, Chun Qingchuan left under the escort of a group of people from the Qin family. Watching the car go far away, Song Qin stood beside Tang Yi. She had thought that Tang Yi would be frowning and thinking hard at this moment. But when she looked up, Tang Yi's face was calm, and he exuded a relaxed demeanor. It seemed that all this was within his plan. "Master Tang, what should we do in these 3 days?" She thought that Tang Yi would have his own plan, but Tang Yi just smiled faintly. "You don't need to do anything in these 3 days. After 3 days, I believe he will come to us on his own initiative." "Ah!" Song Qin frowned and looked puzzled. On the other side, at the general meeting of the Green Dragon Gang, an underground organization entrenched in Hangzhou, their leader was Master Ma. Master Ma's identity was not simple. For so many years, the Song family had encountered various troubles, and Master Ma had a hand in them. He even arranged for assassins and poisoned them. Master Ma was involved in all of this. He wholeheartedly wanted to destroy the Song family, eliminate this largest family in Hangzhou, and then replace it. Unfortunately, he repeatedly made moves, but they were all disrupted by Tang Yi's appearance. In the gang hall, A man wearing sunglasses and a suit knelt quickly in front of a luxurious chair. He didn't dare to look up and trembled all over, until the man lying on the chair shook the red wine glass in his hand and touched his bald head. He said, "What's the matter? So flustered?" The younger brother's face was pale. "Boss, something bad happened. Just now, news came that the Song family's second young master has been killed, and even their father and son did not survive." The room suddenly became cold, and only the sound of the man's glass could be heard. Bang! In an instant, the glass in the man's hand was instantly crushed. The man with a big gold tooth embedded in his mouth cursed angrily. "Trash. They're all a bunch of trash. They can't even handle such a small matter. It's really not a pity to die." At this time, another younger brother ran in. His face was even more panicked than the previous one. "Big brother, something bad happened. Banker Wong seems to have had an accident. Just now, news came from the bank that Banker Wong was killed by a man named Tang Yi, and the death was extremely tragic." Master Ma stood up and looked angry. This banker Wong had always been a figure under Master Ma's command. This kid had repeatedly ruined his good deeds. It seemed that this time he had to take action personally. "Go and tell Banker Wong's elder brother. Tell Banker Wong's major brother about this matter. Tell him that his own brother was killed." Yes. This Banker Wong was so arrogant because he had a major brother. The next day, outside the main gate of the Green Dragon Gang, stood a group of people dressed in green. Each of them had a fierce face and evil eyes. And standing at the front of this group was a man wearing a military leather coat and smoking a cigar. In Hangzhou, the largest and most powerful military force, the Tigerban Army, was commanded by Lieutenant Wang Hu. His influence extended throughout the city, his connections reaching into both the underworld, where he was close to Boss Ma of the Qinglong Gang, and the upper echelons of society, where he maintained ties with prominent families. A subordinate removed Wang Hu's greatcoat, revealing a scar that twitched on his face as Boss Ma approached and led him into the hall. Without preamble, Wang Hu slammed his foot on the table. "Who killed my brother?" he roared. "I'll grind his bones to dust and slaughter his entire family." Boss Ma described the incident, showing Wang Hu security footage from the bank. The video showed Gao Manyue, disheveled and distressed, leaving the bank after the attempted assault. "That bitch," Wang Hu snarled. "I'll skin her alive." "She's the CEO of the Gao family," Boss Ma said. "The man who killed your brother is likely connected to her. Arrest her and spread the word. The killer will come to you." "I don't need you to tell me what to do," Wang Hu snapped, storming out with his men. At the Gao residence, a small party was underway to celebrate a recently secured business deal. Han Anfei was among the guests. "Young Master Han," Gao Manyue said, raising her glass, "I'm so grateful for your help. If it weren't for you, I would have been, and we wouldn't have secured this deal. You've been so kind to me." She hesitated, unsure how to express her gratitude. Suddenly, soldiers burst in, guns drawn, throwing the party into chaos. They smashed bottles of expensive liquor. "Don't move," one yelled. Before anyone could react, Chun Lanxiang stepped forward. "How dare you? Who do you think you are, causing trouble at a Gao family event?" A soldier backhanded her, sending her sprawling to the floor, blood trickling from her mouth. "Mom!" Gao Manyue rushed to her side. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" A man in a military greatcoat stepped forward. "What am I doing? Your family killed my brother, and you're throwing a party? You should be running for your lives." The guests were stunned. Someone recognized the man. "Is that the Tigerban Army? What are they doing here? This doesn't look like a celebration." Panic spread through the room. The Tigerban Army held absolute power. Their wealth meant nothing. Wang Hu could ruin them with a single word. Wang Hu gestured to a soldier, who grabbed Chun Lanxiang by the hair and dragged her to Wang Hu's feet. "Who gave you the guts to touch my brother?" he snarled. Chun Lanxiang screamed, the pain from her scalp shooting through her head. Gao Qingbin pushed the soldier away. "Do you even know who's here? You dare cause trouble at the Gao residence? We have a partnership with the Han family. You're disrespecting young Master Han." He rushed to Han Anfei's side. "Young Master Han, this is a joyous occasion for our families. Get rid of these pests." Han Anfei's face paled. He cursed Gao Qingbin's stupidity. This was Wang Hu, the commander of the Tigerban Army. The Han family's influence was nothing compared to his. One word from him, and they'd be dead. He bowed obsequiously. Lieutenant Wang, I'm just a guest here. This has nothing to do with the Han family. Please excuse me. He turned to leave. He's running away? The guests were stunned, especially Gao Manyue. Young Master Han? She asked, bewildered. He straightened up. Let's be honest, Miss Gao. Everything I did for you was a lie. I didn't ask the Song family to help you. I didn't save you at the bank. I just wanted to sleep with you. I can't help you now. You offended Lieutenant Wang. Your family is finished in Hangzhou. There's no need to pretend anymore. Everyone was speechless. Gao Manyue stared at him, tears streaming down her face. She trusted him, even thought he was worthy of her. It had all been a lie, built on Tang Yi's repeated acts of saving her. She thought of the times she'd misjudged Tang Yi, the disappointment she'd felt, the contempt she'd shown him. He'd done so much for her, and she'd scorned him. Ah, she whispered, her eyes filled with regret, wishing she could disappear. Wang, who had no time for their drama. Tie them up. Take them away, he ordered. Chapter 62. Lieutenant Wang, wait. Han Anfei called out, hurrying after him. I know who killed your brother. Let me go, and I'll tell you. He was willing to betray Tang Yi to save his own skin. Tang Yi was nothing to him, an enemy. Even, it wasn't worth jeopardizing his relationship with Wang Hu. This was a win-win. He'd get rid of Tang Yi and save himself. You're bargaining with me? Wang Hu sneered. You're nothing. I can kill you without a second thought. But the killer of my brother, that's what I care about. Lieutenant Wang, I know I'm insignificant, but what good will killing me do? How about this? Han Anfei knelt, whispering in Wang Hu's ear. A cruel smile spread across Wang Hu's face. He gestured to his men, who took up positions around the room. Han Anfei, a sinister grin on his face, approached Gao Manyue. Call that loser Tang Yi, he ordered. He was showing his true colors now, all pretense of friendship gone. No, Gao Manyue spat, refusing to take his outstretched phone. She'd seen through his facade. You bitch! Han Anfei exploded. You're not the Gao family CEO anymore. You offended Lieutenant Wang. I wouldn't take you even if you begged. Now call that loser. Maybe Lieutenant Wang will be merciful and spare your life. Gao Manyue glared at him, disgust filling her eyes. She spat in his face. Never. Slap. Han Anfei's hand cracked across her face, sending her sprawling to the floor. He hadn't held back. The once powerful Son now lay there, clutching her bruised cheek, her eyes blazing with hatred. Call him, Han Anfei yelled, or I'll beat you to death. You bastard, Chun Lanxiang shrieked, scrambling to her feet. I trusted you. How dare you hit my daughter? She clawed at his face like a madwoman. You're asking for it, old hat. He kicked her in the stomach, sending her reeling back. He spat at her, wiping the scratches from his face. Enough! Wang Hu bellowed, taking an M416 from a soldier and approaching Gao Manyue. He raised the gun and fired a burst into the air. Ah! The guests screamed, covering their heads and cowering on the floor. Gao Manyue's face paled. Even she knew the power of a bullet. How would that feel? Wang Hu asked calmly. Lodged in your body. You have two choices. Call Tang Yi and tell him to come here. Then I'll let your family go. Or, he pointed the gun at her. Gao Manyue hesitated. She felt guilty about betraying Tang Yi, but if she didn't, he'd kill her. Bang! Before she could decide, he fired. Gao Qingbin screamed, clutching his leg, which was now bleeding profusely. Sister, call him. This has nothing to do with us. He'll kill me. Chun Lanxiang rushed to Gao Manyue's side. Daughter, he's our only son. Don't let him die. Overwhelmed, Gao Manyue reached for her phone, but Han Anfei snatched it and handed it to Wang Hu, who immediately dialed Tang Yi's number. The phone rang and rang, then went to voicemail. Damn it, why isn't he answering? Wang Hu roared. How would I know? Gao Manyue retorted. We're divorced. He hasn't answered my calls in ages. We have nothing to do with each other. You came to the wrong place. Slap. Wang Hu backhanded her, drawing blood. He hated defiant women. You call him. If you can't reach him, your entire family will die with my brother. He threw the phone at her, his men aiming their guns at the guests. If she disobeyed, he'd kill them all, and he had the power to do it. As commander of the city's military, he could easily accuse the Gao family of treason and execute them without consequence. Daughter, just call him. Chun Lanxiang pleaded. I don't want to die. Sister, Tang Yi has nothing to do with us. Don't drag us down with you, Gao Chengbin cried. Chapter 64. Just now, at the moment before Wang Hu pulled the trigger, Tang Yi made his move with lightning speed, snatching the pistol from Wang Hu's hand. Wang Hu's eyes widened, staring at the gun pressed against his forehead. He was momentarily flustered. He had held the gun so steadily just a moment ago, but it had been snatched away in an instant. Was this something a normal person could do? You. Wang Hu was utterly stunned. Tang Yi said calmly, you are a second lieutenant of Hangzhou. It's truly Hangzhou's greatest tragedy to have someone like you protecting it. You can't even hold your own gun steady. I think you should step down as soon as possible. When I came over, I noticed that the dogs by the roadside would do a better job of guarding the gate than you. Someone like you, death is not enough of a pity. The cold barrel of the gun pressed against Wang Hu's forehead. Everyone was also amazed. This kid, Tang Yi, was really something. He actually managed to snatch the gun from Second Lieutenant Wang's hand. Gao Manyue was even more shocked. All the soldiers present were stunned for a moment. They raised their guns and aimed at Tang Yi's back, threatening him. Kid, do you dare to shoot? If you dare to shoot, these people behind you will kill you instantly. If you dare to touch me, even your woman will be shot dead. Don't think that just because you say you don't care, you can watch her die. Wang Hu said with a ferocious expression. He seemed not afraid of death, nor was he afraid of taking Tang Yi down with him. As long as this brat dared to shoot, 50 or 60 people would die with him in the next second. He was certain that Tang Yi would never do that. Tang Yi smiled coldly and pulled the trigger. Bang! With the sound of gunfire, everyone's hearts were caught in their throats. This kid really dared to shoot. Did he not want to live? Damn it, this idiot Tang Yi, he doesn't want to live, but we do. Han Fei even cursed. Damn you, Tang Yi, if you want to die, don't drag us down with you. Everyone was so scared that they huddled together. The soldiers were also so frightened that they couldn't move, and they couldn't even hold their guns steady. Wang Hu's legs were trembling, his heart was racing, and his face was panicked. Second Lieutenant Wang, why are you so scared? When I took your gun, I already removed the bullets. I don't want to end up in a lose-lose situation. As long as you let them go today, I'll let bygones be bygones. After all, you're still the second lieutenant of Hangzhou. If I kill you, I'd feel a bit bad. Tang Yi spoke lightly, as if Second Lieutenant Wang's life was worthless in his eyes. Second Lieutenant Wang's face flushed with anger, but he immediately said, Kid, you had the chance to kill me just now, and even the chance to get out of here. Unfortunately, you were ultimately ruined by your own arrogance. Now there are so many people and so many guns, all pointed at you. As long as I give the order, you will be immediately riddled with bullets. Tang Yi sneered. Do you think these people can deal with me? What do you mean? Second Lieutenant Wang laughed. His Tiger Roar army was the most powerful, best equipped, and elite unit in the entire city of Hangzhou. They had once fought their way through a bloody path, all of them veterans of the battlefield, each one an elite among elites. What could Tang Yi prove with that one gun snatch just now? Now, the one with the advantage was not someone else, not Tang Yi, but himself. Fire! Wang Hu turned his back, ready to enjoy the sound of gunfire. When he turned around, he would surely see Tang Yi's bloody and mangled body. But all he heard was a gasp from the soldiers. When Wang Hu turned around again, he found that Tang Yi had not been shot to pieces, and had even disappeared from his original spot. Where is he? All the soldiers also shook their heads blankly. The next second, Tang Yi appeared beside Gao Manyue. Two unconscious soldiers lay beside him. Tang Yi was holding the rope that had bound Gao Manyue. Gao Manyue stood behind Tang Yi. In that instant, Tang Yi had come to Gao Manyue's side and rescued her. This astonishing speed shocked everyone. Wang Hu was also stunned, unable to speak for a moment. How is that possible? The others were also startled. Gao Manyue frowned and said, Is it really you, Tang Yi? Shut up. I saved you only because I don't want innocent lives to be lost because of me. There is no other relationship. Tang Yi left Gao Manyue with a cold back. Tang Yi, you bastard, save us quickly. If it weren't for you, how would we have been beaten like this? Chun Lanxiang continued to scold Tang Yi. Tang Yi didn't want to pay attention to her now. His gaze was fixed on Wang Hu. Soldiers were constantly approaching him, but they didn't dare to come forward easily because they had witnessed Tang Yi's speed, and everyone had a good idea. This person was definitely not simple. What are you afraid of? We have guns. I don't believe we can't deal with him. A man with no weapons. Everyone fire. But as soon as his voice fell, Tang Yi, with lightning speed, came to the front of the crowd, and with just a raise of his arms, knocked all the guns to the ground. And these guns were all broken in two, no longer usable. Wah! What? He broke the guns? Is this something a human can do? No. What the hell is going on? All the soldiers were so scared that they retreated. They looked at Tang Yi's terrifying eyes, and their hearts were filled with fear. But Wang, who would not give up, he directly took out the second lieutenant's token. Anyone who dares to retreat a step will be shot immediately after returning. Hearing Wang Hu say this, the crowd dared to come forward. A few brave soldiers decided to test Tang Yi's strength. But as soon as they got to Tang Yi and threw a punch, he easily dodged it, and with less than half his strength, he sent them flying. Seeing someone go up, the rest of the soldiers also swarmed forward. More than 50 soldiers. Each of them had received elite training. Moreover, they were all veterans who had dared to fight and kill on the battlefield, having crawled through the hail of bullets. Each of them had physical and mental qualities that were hundreds of times stronger than ordinary people. But, under Tang Yi's fists, they all turned into straw bags. Just one punch to their bodies felt like they were being crushed. Chapter 65. With a few swift moves, Tang Yi took down the remaining men. Holding one unconscious thug, he approached Wang Hu, who stared in disbelief. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. This guy had single-handedly defeated over 50 of his men. Tang Yi casually tossed the unconscious man at Wang Hu's feet. He rolled over, lifeless. That's it, Tang Yi scoffed, dusting off his hands. The Hangzhou Tigerman army is nothing special. Wang Hu was enraged. How dare this nobody insult his elite force? You dare mock my army, he roared. Tang Yi's disdain was palpable, even from 10 meters away. Dealing with this scum was beneath him. He flexed his numb hands. I've never even considered your army, let alone mocked it. I'll give you a chance. Call in all your men, all your weapons. Let's get this over with. I'll wipe out your entire operation in one go. Wang Hu's anger vanished, replaced by stunned disbelief. Then he burst into laughter. This was like a cornered animal returning to taunt the hunter, asking if his gun was loaded. But the hunter didn't just have a gun. He had an arsenal, artillery, even planes and tanks, all at his disposal. One call, and this fool would be obliterated. The Gao family watched in stunned silence. Why wasn't he running? If they were him, they'd be fleeing for their lives. He clearly didn't understand. Wang Hu hadn't even begun to fight. Wang Hu grabbed his radio. Get everyone here. Now! I'll show this kid what real power looks like. Such a naive fool. The guests lowered their heads, afraid to speak. Chun Lanxiang crawled forward, weeping. Lieutenant Wang, he's here. Please let us go. It has nothing to do with us. The others looked at Wang Hu pleadingly. He'd promised to let them go if they brought Tang Yi. A cruel smile spread across Wang Hu's face. He glanced at them coldly. Did I say that? You're all going to die here, to appease my brother's soul. Especially you. He pointed at Tang Yi. Everyone was stunned. Chun Lanxiang collapsed, her face ashen. That bastard Tang Yi. He's ruined us. Suddenly, the roar of helicopter blades filled the air. 6 helicopters appeared, circling overhead. Dozens of military vehicles crashed through the gates, skidding to a halt in the courtyard. Soldiers poured out, armed with advanced weaponry. Thompson submachine guns, helmets, body armor, combat boots, sunglasses, and grenades. They surrounded the house. As the guests cowered in terror, the wine in their glasses rippled. The ground trembled. A rumbling sound grew louder. 3 tanks appeared, their cannons aimed at the villa. Scared now, Wang Hu sneered, unable to contain his glee. With this kind of firepower, he was invincible. The Gao family closed their eyes, waiting for death. Wang Hu had never deployed such force. He was intent on a massacre. We're doomed. That bastard Tang Yi has killed us all. But then, Tang Yi chuckled and pulled a golden token from his pocket. A golden dragon, its scales gleaming in the setting sun. The golden dragon emerges, bringing blood and fire. Where it treads, no grass grows. 3 years fulfilled, the golden dragon ascends. He raised the token high. A golden light flashed, illuminating the courtyard. The air crackled with power. "Open your eyes and see whose men these are," he said. Wang Hu turned and saw that the soldiers, now clad in golden armor, had turned their guns on him. The Golden Dragon Guard? He collapsed, recognizing the ancient dragon carved on the token, its intricate claws, a symbol of immense power. The very air seemed to shift. He fumbled for his phone and called his grandfather, Wang Yuliang, the former lieutenant. "Grandpa, I've failed you. I won't be able to fulfill my filial duty." "What are you talking about?" his grandfather's voice boomed. Wang Hu, a towering man, knelt and sobbed. "Grandpa, don't avenge me. The Wang family will be fine without us. But if they return—" Bang! A single shot rang out. Silence. Wang Hu lay dead, a bullet hole in his forehead. Tang Yi held the smoking pistol, his eyes as cold as ice. Chapter 66. After eliminating Wang Hu, Tang Yi vanished from the Gao residence before anyone could understand what had happened. The tanks and helicopters retreated, leaving the Gao family stunned and bewildered. Gao Manyue, once she'd recovered from the shock, realized the danger had passed. Even the unconscious soldiers had been taken away. What? What happened? The chaos had been so sudden, the retreat so swift, that no one could comprehend what had transpired. Had Tang Yi been captured? Regardless, they were safe. They'd sacrificed Tang Yi, a worthless life, to save their family. As for Tang Yi, he was no longer their concern. 3 days later, Tang Yi sat by the window at Floating Cloud Manor, contemplating the golden dragon token in his hand. The intricate dragon claws symbolized immense power, but his eyes were filled with a darkness, a reluctance to wield it. He took a sip of tea as his phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. He frowned. Few people had his number. No one could access it without his permission, unless someone he knew had given it out. He thought of Song Qin. Only she would be so bold. "Hello, this is Tang Yi," he answered, his voice calm. He wasn't expecting anyone important. A weak, coughing voice came from the other end. "Master Tang, it's Chen Qingchuan." "Oh," Tang Yi said, intrigued. He knew what was coming. "Master Tang, I believe you now. My health. There's a serious problem. I woke up this morning with chest pains. I had a scan, and there's blood, just as you said. Please, Master Tang, come to the Holy Dragon Club and save me. I'll give you the 3 souls herb." Chen Qingchuan, usually arrogant, was now humbled. He knew, from his years of medical experience, that he was dying. If he didn't get help soon, he wouldn't last much longer. He hated begging, especially someone like Tang Yi, but he was desperate. Silence met his plea. He began to panic. Was Master Tang angry? Had his earlier arrogance offended him? Was he considered unworthy of being saved? "Master Tang," he croaked, coughing violently. "Prepare the herbs I told you about," Tang Yi said finally. "I'll come and treat you, but I can't guarantee success. We're past the optimal time for treatment." From the coughing, he knew the blood had reached Chen Qingchuan's lungs. If he didn't get treatment soon, he'd lose consciousness from lack of oxygen. He couldn't guarantee a cure, so he'd set expectations beforehand, just in case. Chen Qingchuan's voice was weaker now, resigned. "I understand, Master Tang. I'm a physician myself. We can't always heal ourselves. I know my condition. I won't blame you if you can't cure me. Prepare the herbs. I'll be right there." He listed the ingredients, a complex formula requiring specific catalysts he'd need to prepare himself. Even with the recipe, Chen Qingchuan wouldn't know how to use it. Tang Yi hung up and hailed a cab. A large, bustling nightclub, owned by the Qinglong gang, was a popular hangout for Hangzhou's wealthy young men. Gao Qingbin, after being confined to the house for days following the incident with the military, was eager to let loose. He parked his BMW, a modest car compared to the luxury vehicles lining the street, Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. He took a deep breath, enjoying his newfound freedom. He was going to have some fun tonight. He sauntered inside and spotted a woman in a tight pink skirt, her makeup heavy, her figure curvaceous, standing by the bar. He twirled his car keys and approached her, slapping her playfully on the rear. "Zhang Jie, long time no see. Missed me?" "Gao Qingbin," she said, turning around with a smile. "I haven't seen you in ages." I've missed you so much. He reached for her, but a strong hand slammed him against the bar. You looking for trouble, punk? A gruff voice snarled. Touching my woman? I'll skin you alive. A man with dyed blonde hair, a cigarette dangling from his lips, stood behind Gao Qingbin, flanked by several thugs. Gao Qingbin, already on edge, grabbed a bottle and smashed it over the man's head. The blonde man, enraged, gestured to his men. Chapter 67. A taxi pulled up to the Holy Dragon Club. Tang Yi looked at the imposing building and sighed. No one had been able to cure this illness. Suddenly, the car door opened. A man in a green uniform with the club's logo on it greeted him respectfully. Master Tang, we've been expecting you. Master Chen has been waiting. Tang Yi nodded and got out of the car. Master Tang, please save my master. We thought it was a minor ailment, but he collapsed earlier. There's severe blood congestion in his chest, and we can't figure out what's wrong. Master Chen instructed us to treat you with the utmost respect. The man was Lu Sanxue, Chen Qingchuan's first disciple and his only true successor. He held the car door open for Tang Yi and even paid the fare. Please, Master Tang, this way. Tang Yi followed him inside. He suspected Chen Qingchuan was on the brink of death. The Holy Dragon Club was Hangzhou's largest medical establishment, housing the rarest herbs and medicines from all over the country. Countless pharmaceutical companies relied on it, and hospitals nationwide paid exorbitant fees for access to its resources. Chen Qingchuan's influence was vast. He hadn't disclosed his illness, knowing it would cause widespread panic. The club's main hall was opulent, practically dripping with gold. Lu Sanxue led Tang Yi to a private ward, filled with state-of-the-art medical equipment and rare herbs. Hundreds of people in green uniforms, Chen Qingchuan's disciples, stood outside. Tang Yi was unimpressed. So many disciples, and yet they were useless. What had Chen Qingchuan been teaching them? They looked at Tang Yi, their initial anticipation turning to disbelief. Such a young man? A master? They'd studied for years and achieved nothing. They were envious, even skeptical. Are the herbs I requested ready? Tang Yi asked. Yes, Master Tang. Everything is prepared, Lu Sanxue replied. Tang Yi nodded and entered the ward. The disciples scoffed. They'd seen the herbs. Cheap, common ingredients. Could these save a life? They were eager to see him fail. If he couldn't cure their master, the Holy Dragon Club would crush him. Wait, a voice called out. All eyes turned to a man with a stern face and a deep scar, Chen Qingchuan's second disciple, Chen Daowei. He glared at Tang Yi. Brother, he said to Lu Sanxue, you brought this boy to treat master? Even if you agree, the rest of us don't. We can't let someone with no reputation, someone we're not even sure is a physician, treat our master. Are you insane? Chen Daowei judged people based on reputation, and Tang Yi was unknown in their circles. He wasn't mentioned in any medical texts, hadn't been endorsed by any renowned physicians. Even a hospital intern would be more credible. This was tantamount to murder. The other disciples murmured in agreement. Brother, are you sure Master asked for him? We've met so many of Master's colleagues, renowned physicians, and now, this nobody? It's unbelievable. Lu Sanxue's face flushed. He didn't know what to do. You're running out of time, Tang Yi said. If you want to save your master, you have less than 2 hours. The disciples scoffed. Still pretending? I checked Master's pulse, Chen Daowei sneered. He has at least 3 days. You're cursing him, aren't you? 3 days? Tang Yi chuckled, shaking his head. Chen Qingchuan should retire. His disciples are incompetent. If I were him, I'd give up and enjoy my old age. The disciples were enraged. Lu Sanxue, seeing the situation escalating, stepped in. Master personally called for Master Tang before he collapsed. Disobeying his wishes is disrespecting him. He's lying in there sick, and you're about to start a fight? Have you no shame? His face was dark with anger. As the eldest disciple, his words carried weight. The others fell silent. He glared at Chen Daowei. I know you're worried, but if you say another word, get out of the Holy Dragon Club. Chapter 68. Lu Sanxue's words carried weight. Respect for seniority was paramount at the Holy Dragon Club. The other disciples backed down, and even Chen Daowei fell silent. Lu Sanxue gave them a warning look, then turned to Tang Yi with a polite smile. Master Tang, this way, please. Tang Yi ignored him and walked straight into the ward, followed by several disciples. He sniffed the air, his eyes narrowing. Something's wrong, he said. I prescribed 3 liang of ginseng slices and 2 liang of nux vomica. Why is there extra? This could be fatal. The disciple's faces paled. He detected the discrepancy by smell alone? Nonsense, Chen Dawei scoffed. How can you be so sure? Maybe you made a mistake. Tang, he held up his phone. I record every prescription I give, in case someone tries to dispute it. He played the recording. It confirmed his prescription. The disciples fell silent, and even Chen Dawei looked ashamed. The disciple in charge of preparing the herbs reweighed the ingredients. Brother, there was extra, he admitted, but it's just for blood stasis. A little extra won't hurt. It's... Chen Dawei stammered, looking indignant. Tang, he almost laughed. How dare you call yourselves Chun Qingchuan's disciples? But then again, with your level of skill, you're doing him a favor. The disciples glared at him. Even if he was skilled, how dare he insult them like this? Who did he think he was? If he failed to cure Master Chen, they'd tear him apart. Tang, he examined Chen Qingchuan. The blood stasis was extensive, spreading from his neck to his abdomen. He sighed. Serves him right. He took out his pouch of 12 silver needles. The first one gleamed with a faint light. The disciples gasped. Was that the legendary ice soul needle? Said to possess incredible healing properties, it could seal meridians, expel toxins, and even revive the dying. A single needle, inserted into the right acupoint, could grant immunity to all poisons and rejuvenate the body. And this young man had 12? They were priceless, each one worth billions at auction. Even the Holy Dragon Club didn't possess one. They looked at Tang Yi with newfound respect. Could he really be a miracle doctor? He inserted the first needle into Chen Qingchuan's chest with precision, the blood stasis seeming to freeze around it. A chill filled the room. The disciples watched in awe. Such powerful spiritual energy. He inserted 2 more needles, and black blood began to seep from the first one, Chen Qingchuan's chest regaining its normal color. They sighed in relief, their eyes filled with admiration. Such skill at such a young age. They felt a pang of jealousy. He's a true genius. But Chen Qingchuan remained unconscious. Start preparing the medicine. Tang Yi instructed Lu Sanxue. Low heat. Half an hour. Yes, Master Tang. The disciples hurried to prepare the medicine. Half an hour later, Lu Sanxue brought the decoction to Tang Yi, who sniffed it and nodded. He had Lu Sanxue help him prop up Chen Qingchuan and poured the medicine down his throat. Chen Qingchuan's complexion returned to normal, but he remained unconscious. Just then, the heart monitor flatlined. What the hell did you do? Chen Dawei roared, lunging at Tang Yi. He's dead. You killed him. He's not leaving here alive. He pulled out a switchblade. I knew you were a fraud. The other disciples, enraged, closed in on Tang Yi. Dawei, stop, a voice boomed. A figure shot up from the bed and grabbed Chen Dawei by the throat, lifting him off his feet. Master, you're alive? Chen Dawei stammered, his eyes wide. Chen Qingchuan tossed him aside. I'm alive thanks to Master Tang. Chapter 69. Master Tang. Chen Qingchuan said, Thank you for saving my life. I feel completely rejuvenated. How did you do it? He was more interested in Tang Yi's methods than his own recovery. If he could learn these techniques, he could further refine his skills and elevate his status. Tang Yi walked over and, with a flick of his wrist, retrieved the 3 ice soul needles. He placed them in his pouch. It was nothing. We all have our own methods. Intrigued by Tang Yi's modesty, Chen Qingchuan asked, What is your specialty, Master Tang? What area of medicine are you most proficient in? I dabble in a bit of everything. I wouldn't say I specialize in anything. Tang Yi replied with a faint smile. Chen Qingchuan realized that Tang Yi was not only incredibly skilled, but also remarkably humble. He possessed a level of integrity and medical ethics Chen Qingchuan had rarely encountered. He was finally understanding the meaning of the saying, hidden dragons and crouching tigers exist among the common people. He'd underestimated this young man. Sanxue, he said, bring me the 3 souls herb. I want to present it to Master Tang myself, and apologize for my earlier disrespect. He'd recovered remarkably quickly. He bowed deeply to Tang Yi. You may rise, Tang Yi said, accepting the gesture without comment. He felt it was Chen Qingchuan's duty. He hadn't saved him out of kindness, but for the herb. Just then his phone rang. It was Song Qin. Master Tang, she said, her voice laced with anxiety. The bet is over, and we haven't heard from Chen Qingchuan. What do we do? This bet was about more than just the Song family's reputation and the priceless Ninggu jade pendant. It was about Tang Yi. Before Tang Yi could answer, Chen Qingchuan said cheerfully, "Young lady, Master Tang won the bet. I concede. I've already given him the 3 souls herb." You lost. Song Qin was surprised, but not entirely. She'd never doubted Tang Yi, but she hadn't been there to witness his victory. Chen Qingchuan sighed. I'm getting old. I can't keep up with these young physicians. Perhaps it's time for me to retire. You're not old, Uncle Chen. Tang Yi is just exceptional. Even my grandfather admires him. Tang Yi, who hadn't spoken yet, interrupted. Is there anything else? He asked Song Qin. Since this is such a joyous occasion, how about a celebration? She suggested. What do you say, Uncle Chen? Chen Qingchuan, a shrewd man, saw through her suggestion. She wanted to strengthen their ties and spend more time with Tang Yi, gleaning medical knowledge. It was a good deal. I'm certainly amenable. What about you, Master Tang? He looked at Tang Yi, but saw no enthusiasm, no desire to participate. Song Qin quickly intervened. Uncle Chen, you wouldn't know, but Master Tang, despite his skills and power, is shy around strangers. He's not comfortable in places like KTVs or nightclubs. Chen Qingchuan was surprised. Master Tang, with your abilities, you shouldn't have such concerns. A man of your stature should be renowned, not afraid of strangers. Tang Yi saw through her ploy. She simply wanted to go out. He hadn't planned on it, but he had acquired the herb. A little celebration wouldn't hurt. Don't listen to her, he said. Who's afraid? Song Qin's voice lit up. So you'll come? Yes. Chen Qingchuan beamed. Sanshui, call our nightclub. Reserve a room. We're going now. Lu Sanshui made the call and returned quickly. Master, the room is booked. They're clearing it out now. You won't be disturbed. Excellent. He turned to Tang Yi. Master Tang, shall we? Tang Yi, holding the box containing the 3 souls herb, followed Chen Qingchuan and the others out of the ward. Back at the Gao residence, Gao Manyue's phone rang as she arrived home. It was her brother. Chapter 70. Chungbin, where are you? Gao Manyue began, but a sharp, authoritative female voice interrupted her. You're his sister? I'm the owner of this club. Your brother caused trouble here, damaged our property. If he'd been polite and offered to pay, this would be over. But he's being difficult. I think there must be a problem with his upbringing. Since he gave me your number, come down here and sort this out. If you can't, we'll deal with your brother ourselves. Gao Manyue's mind raced. Nightclub, fight, compensation. This sounded like her brother. Knowing she was at fault, she sighed, a mixture of disappointment and exasperation with her brother. Send me the address, she said. I'll be right there. How much does he owe? She assumed it was a minor amount. Easily resolved, but the woman's next words shocked her. Broken tables, chairs, several bottles of expensive liquor. Over 8 million yuan. And I haven't even added the cost of our injured staff, the lost business, or the emotional distress. She listed each item with relish. Gao Manyue realized she was being extorted. But with her brother in their hands, she couldn't afford to be confrontational. She hung up, suppressing her anger, and hurried inside the Gao residence. Mom, she called out. We have to go. Chungbin got into a fight. It's serious? He could be killed. She was so frantic she didn't notice the man sitting in the living room. He was handsome, well-dressed, and impeccably polite, but there was a calculating glint in his eyes. He watched Gao Manyue intently. Wow, she's even more beautiful than the socialites I've met. Hello, he said, standing and buttoning his jacket. I'm Su Bing. Su, like the legendary Su Xian. Bing, like ice. He extended his hand. Hello, Gao Manyue replied, barely glancing at him. Mom, Chunbin's in trouble. He got into a fight, and they're demanding 8 million yuan. They'll kill him if we don't pay. I checked the address. This club, they're dangerous. Chun Lanxiang dropped her sunflower seeds. 8 million? What did that idiot do? Her mind raced. She had to protect her precious son's reputation. They're framing him. Those nightclub owners are all crooks, preying on young people. Mom, we have to go. Gao Manyue snapped, her face grim. We need to sort this out. We're not letting them extort us. You're right. Let's go. Chun Lanxiang agreed. She never backed down from a fight, even when she was in the wrong. Su Bing saw an opportunity. He could use his connections to resolve this situation, earning Gao Manyue's gratitude, perhaps even her affection. It would make his pursuit much easier. He wouldn't miss this chance. Madam, let me come with you, he offered with a smile. Mr. Su, Gao Manyue said, this is a family matter. Nonsense, Chun Lanxiang interrupted. Mr. Su is being kind. How can you refuse? With him here, no one will dare to cheat us. She puffed out her chest, as if she were Su Bing's mother, and ushered them both out to the car. At the nightclub, several burly men held Gao Qingbin down. Broken glass and spilled liquor littered the floor. Every expensive bottle had been smashed. A woman in a tight red dress, a cigarette dangling from her lips, sat nearby. I wonder if your family can even afford this, she said, exhaling a plume of smoke. Chapter 71. Screw your overpriced booze. I wouldn't drink it even if it was free. That punk started the fight. Let me go. Gao Qingbin remained defiant, seemingly oblivious to any wrongdoing. The woman exhaled a plume of smoke. Her eyes narrowed. Thousands have caused trouble here. You're the first to be so arrogant. I've never seen anyone like you. If you don't pay, I'll chop off your fingers and feed you to the dogs. Gao Qingbin, finally realizing she wasn't joking, paled. Just then a Porsche pulled up outside. Gao Manyue rushed in, her eyes widening in horror at the scene. Broken glass, smashed furniture, her brother pinned to the floor. The woman spotted her. You're his sister? You see this mess? 8 million is a bargain. The liquor, the furniture, the lost business. Before Gao Manyue could speak, Chun Lanxiang pushed past her, pointing at the woman. What nonsense! This cheap booze isn't worth 8 million. I wouldn't drink it if you paid me. Now release my son, or we'll tear this place apart. The woman scoffed. I've heard of the Gao family. You're doing well, but you're nothing here. Even your CEO's sister. She looked at Gao Manyue. Would be working here as a hostess if she couldn't afford to pay. Gao Manyue's heart sank. She knew, from the woman's tone, that she wasn't bluffing. Chun Lanxiang fell silent, looking at her son with a mixture of fear and pleading, silently urging Gao Manyue to save him. The woman lit another cigarette. If you don't have money, don't act like a big shot. Don't cause trouble in my club. You'll regret it. This money is nothing to me, just a couple of days' earnings. But you messed with me, and I won't let you get away with it. Seeing Gao Manyue's distress, Su Bing saw his chance. He stepped forward and presented his business card. I'm Su Bing of the Su family. You might have heard of me. Your liquor might be considered high-end elsewhere, but in Hangzhou, it's nothing special. I'm sure you don't want to offend the Su family. Let's forget this whole thing, shall we? The woman hesitated. Who was this arrogant man? But then she saw the name on the card and realized who he was. The Su family had been all over the news lately. She knew he had influence. Besides, the liquor wasn't actually worth 8 million, just over 1 million a couple of days' earnings. She relented and gestured for her men to release Gao Qingbin. Seeing her back down, Gao Qingbin sneered, pushing the men aside. So, not so tough now, are you? Weren't you going to kill me? Come on, he taunted, glaring at her. I'm right here. Do something. With Su Bing backing him, he was even more arrogant than before. The Gao family had a new protector. I'll let the drink slide, but you'll pay for having your men attack me. You wanted 8 million for my sister? Now you're paying me 8 million, or I'll kill you. The woman's face darkened. She'd been willing to compromise, but now... Suddenly, a booming voice echoed through the club. Who's causing trouble in my establishment? I'll teach you a lesson. A bald, heavily built man with a dragon tattoo on his head and a gold tooth in his mouth strode in, a cigar clenched between his teeth, followed by dozens of thugs. Snake boss, the woman cried, rushing to his side and clinging to his arm. Look what they did to my club. I don't even know how to entertain you now. He ignored her, glancing at the business card in her hand. The Su family? You think that name means anything here? Get lost, now, or my men will teach you a lesson. Su Bing froze, recognizing the man. Chapter 72. Screw you. Gao Qingbin spat. Your cheap booze isn't worth 8 million. I wouldn't drink it if you paid me. That punk started the fight. This has nothing to do with me. Let me go. He seemed oblivious to any wrongdoing. The woman narrowed her eyes, exhaling a plume of smoke. Thousands have caused trouble here. You're the first to be so arrogant. If you don't pay, I'll chop off your fingers and feed you to the dogs. Gao Chengbin finally realized she was serious. A Porsche pulled up. Gao Manyue rushed in, horrified by the scene. Broken glass, smashed furniture, her brother pinned to the floor. The woman spotted her. You're his sister? 8 million is a bargain. Nonsense, Chun Lanxiang yelled, pushing past her daughter. This cheap wine isn't worth 8 million. Release my son, or we'll tear this place apart. The woman scoffed. I've heard of the Gao family. You're nothing here. Even your CEO's sister. She looked at Gao Manyue. Would be working here as a hostess if she couldn't pay. Gao Manyue's heart sank. The woman wasn't bluffing. Chun Lanxiang fell silent, looking at her son pleadingly. The woman lit a cigarette. If you're broke, don't act like a big shot. Don't cause trouble in my club. This money is nothing to me. But you messed with me. Su Bing saw his opportunity. He stepped forward, presenting his card. I'm Su Bing of the Su family. This liquor is nothing special. You don't want to offend us. Let's forget this. The woman hesitated, then took the card, her eyes widening. This was the Su family, recently prominent in the news. She relented and released Gao Chengbin. He sneered, pushing the men aside. Not so tough now? Weren't you going to kill me? Come on, he taunted. I'm right here. With Su Bing backing me, you're nothing. I'm not paying for the drinks. And you're paying me 8 million for this. The woman's face darkened. Who's causing trouble here? A booming voice roared. I'll teach you a lesson. A bald, heavily built man with a dragon tattoo and a gold tooth strode in, a cigar in his hand, followed by thugs. Snake boss, the woman cried, rushing to his side. Look what they did. I don't even know how to. He ignored her, glancing at the card. The Su family? You think that name impresses me? Get lost, or my men will. Su Bing froze, recognizing him as Snake Boss, a powerful figure in Hangzhou's underworld. He was someone the Su family couldn't afford to cross. You think you're a big shot? Snake Boss sneered, twirling 2 metal balls in his hand as he walked past Su Bing. He approached Gao Manyue, his eyes fixed on her. The Gao family? Causing trouble in my club? Don't you know who I am? Gao Chengbin yelled, still oblivious. I'm young Master Gao. This is Su Bing of the Su family. He can destroy you with a single word. Every word sent shivers down Su Bing's spine. Idiot! I shouldn't have come here. What was I thinking? Snake Boss chuckled. And do you know who I am? A thug brought him a chair. He sat down, twirling the metal balls, his face grim. I work for Uncle Dong. Uncle Dong. The name sent a chill through the room. He was a notorious figure in Hangzhou's underworld, even Snake Boss showing him deference. Gao Manyue closed her eyes, her face ashen, imagining herself begging on the streets, dancing in a nightclub. She glared at her brother. Snake Boss looked at Gao Manyue, a lecherous smile on his face. Spend the night with me, and I'll let you all go. You'll be in the news tomorrow. With my protection, no one will dare touch the Gao family. Refuse, and you're all finished. Your brother will be dog food. Gao Manyue was speechless. She couldn't bear the humiliation, but refusing meant the destruction of her family. Daughter, Chen Lanxiang wailed. You can't let our family be destroyed. Don't let them kill your brother. She favored her son above all else, even above Gao Manyue. Tears streamed down Gao Manyue's face. Just as she was about to agree, a crash echoed through the club. A beer bottle shattered against Snake Boss's head, blood gushing from the wound. Everyone turned to see Tang Yi standing at the entrance. Snake Boss lay groaning on the floor. His thugs started towards him, but Tang Yi was faster. He grabbed Snake Boss by the collar, a knife pressed to his throat. The guests gasped. Gao Manyue, her despair replaced by terror, watched in horror. Tang Yi, you bastard! Let him go! Chun Lanxiang shrieked. Things were bad enough already. If he killed Snake Boss, they were all dead. But Tang Yi didn't release him. You punk! You dare attack me? Do you know who I am? Snake Boss roared, enraged. He'd never been humiliated like this. Tang Yi tightened his grip, cutting off his air supply. I don't care who you are. You're going to die. His eyes flashed with murderous intent, and the guests shrank back in fear. Only Gao Manyue reacted. She rushed forward and grabbed his arm. Tang Yi, stop. Do you know what this will do to our family? You're trying to get revenge, aren't you? If you kill him, his men will slaughter us all. I won't let you use this as an excuse to destroy us. Chapter 73. Screw that. Your crappy booze isn't worth 8 million. I wouldn't drink it if it was free. That punk started the fight. Let me go. Gao Qingbin still hadn't grasped the severity of the situation. The woman exhaled a plume of smoke. You're the most arrogant troublemaker I've ever met. If you don't pay, I'll feed you to the dogs. A Porsche pulled up outside. Gao Manyue rushed in, horrified by the scene. Broken glass, smashed furniture, her brother being manhandled. You're his sister? 8 million is being generous, the woman said. Nonsense, Chun Lanxiang yelled. This cheap wine isn't worth 8 million. Release my son, or we'll tear this place down. The woman scoffed. I've heard of the Gao family. You're nothing here. Even your CEO's sister would be working here if she couldn't pay. Gao Manyue's heart sank. This was serious. Chun Lanxiang fell silent, looking pleadingly at her son and then at Gao Manyue. The woman lit a cigarette. If you're broke, don't act tough. This money is nothing to me, just a few days' earnings. But you cross me. Su Bing stepped forward, presenting his card. I'm Su Bing. This liquor is overpriced. You don't want to offend the Su family. Let's forget this. The woman hesitated, then took the card, her eyes widening in recognition. She knew he had some influence. Fine, she said, gesturing for her men to release Gao Qingbin. He sneered, pushing the men aside. Not so tough now. Weren't you going to kill me? Come on, I'm right here. With the Su family backing me, you're nothing. Now you pay me 8 million. The woman's face darkened. Who's causing trouble here? A booming voice roared. I'll teach you a lesson. A bald, heavily built man with a dragon tattoo and a gold tooth strode in, followed by dozens of thugs. Snake boss, the woman cried, rushing to him. Look what they did. I don't know how. He ignored her, glancing at the card. The Su family? That name means nothing here. Get lost. Su Bing froze, recognizing Snake Boss, a powerful figure in Hangzhou's underworld. He was someone the Su family couldn't afford to cross. You think you're a big shot? Snake Boss sneered, walking past him and approaching Gao Manyue. The Gao family, causing trouble in my club? Don't you know who I am? Gao Qingbin yelled. I'm young Master Gao. This is Su Bing. He can destroy you. Su Bing cringed. Idiot. Why did I come here? Snake Boss chuckled. And who am I? I work for Uncle Dong. The name sent a chill through the room. Uncle Dong was notorious. Gao Manyue closed her eyes, despairing. Snake Boss leered at her. Spend the night with me, and I'll let you all go. You'll even get my protection. Refuse, and your family is finished. Gao Manyue was speechless, torn between saving her family and her own dignity. Daughter, Chun Lanxiang wailed. You can't let us be destroyed. Tears welled in Gao Manyue's eyes. Crash! A beer bottle shattered against Snake Boss's head. Tang Yi stood at the entrance. Snake Boss crumpled to the floor. His men moved towards Tang Yi, but he grabbed Snake Boss, a knife at his throat. Gao Manyue gasped. Tang Yi, you bastard! Let him go! Chun Lanxiang shrieked. But Tang Yi didn't release him. You punk! Do you know who I am? Snake Boss roared. Tang Yi tightened his grip. I don't care. You're going to die. Tang Yi, enraged by Snake Boss's words, ignored Gao Manyue. He wanted to kill him, but as she grabbed his arm, pulling the knife away, a familiar sensation coursed through him, a memory of their time together. Snake Boss, shielded by his men, pointed at Tang Yi. You little punk! You dare attack me? Do you know who I am? He was humiliated. Everyone who'd witnessed this would die. Get them, chop them up, and feed them to the dogs. His men pulled out knives and lunged. Before Gao Manyue could react, Chun Lanxiang and Gao Qingbin were pinned down, knives at their throats. Gao Manyue's eyes widened in terror. A stretch limousine pulled up. Song Qin stepped out, followed by a well-dressed bald man. They entered the club just as Snake Boss was about to give the order. He froze, recognizing the man. He rarely appeared in public. This meant serious trouble. Snake Boss rushed over, bowing and scraping. Uncle Dong, what brings you here? Do I need to report to you? Uncle Dong said coldly, glancing at him. Uncle Dong, Snake Boss said quickly. I was just dealing with some punks who trash your club. They even brought the Gao and Su families for backup. But they're nothing compared to you, so I was about to. Uncle Dong ignored him, turning to Song Qin. What is it, child? Why do you care about a bar fight? The Song family can handle this easily. Snake Boss finally noticed Song Qin. He didn't care about the Song family. They were just business people. Song Qin whispered something in Uncle Dong's ear. His face hardened, and he walked towards Tang Yi. Snake Boss smiled, assuming Uncle Dong was going to defend his honor and punish Tang Yi. He couldn't wait to see that punk get what he deserved. Chen Lanxiang and her family were resigned to their fate. If Gao Manyue had just slept with Snake Boss. But now, this man, clearly far more powerful. It was over for the Gao family. Uncle Dong gestured for Snake Boss to approach. Snake Boss swaggered over, anticipating an apology from Tang Yi. Uncle Dong. He began, but then, slap. Uncle Dong backhanded him, sending him stumbling. Despite his age, he was strong. A red mark bloomed on Snake Boss's face. Everyone stared, stunned. What was going on? Uncle Dong, what? Snake Boss stammered, clutching his face. This ends now, Uncle Dong said coldly, glaring at him. No more trouble. The unspoken message was clear. Get out. Snake Boss didn't dare argue. He quickly left with his men, followed by the confused club owner. Get out, Uncle Dong said to the Gao family. They were bewildered but terrified. They hurried out, grateful to be alive. Uncle Dong turned to Tang Yi and gestured towards a private room. Mr. Tang, a word, please. Tang Yi, confused by his politeness, glanced at Song Qin, who gave him a knowing look. She'd arranged this. Outside, Chen Lanxiang and her family were equally confused. Why had Uncle Dong let them go? Had Tang Yi done something? Daughter, don't be ridiculous. He nearly got us killed, Chen Lanxiang insisted. Just then, they saw Tang Yi leaving the club, laughing with Song Qin. Gao Manyue felt a pang of jealousy. That freeloader, he's using the Song family. Without them, he'd be dead. Chapter 74. A taxi dropped Tang Yi off at the Holy Dragon Club. He looked at the imposing building and thought, no one has been able to cure this. Suddenly, the door opened. A man in a club uniform greeted him respectfully. Master Tang, we've been expecting you. Tang Yi nodded and got out. Master Tang, please save our master. We thought it was a minor illness, but he collapsed. Severe blood congestion. We've tried everything. Master Chen instructed us to treat you with utmost respect. It was Lu Sanxue, Chen Qingchuan's top disciple. Take me to him, Tang Yi said. Inside the opulent building, Lu Sanxue led him to a private ward filled with expensive equipment and rare herbs. Hundreds of disciples in club uniforms stood outside. Tang Yi was unimpressed. So many disciples, yet useless. Are the herbs I requested ready? He asked. Yes, Master Tang, Lu Sanxue replied. Tang Yi entered the ward. The disciples scoffed. They'd seen the herbs, cheap common ingredients. Wait, a voice said. A man with a scar on his face, Chen Dawei, Chen Qingchuan's second disciple, stepped forward. Brother, you're letting him treat Master? We don't even know if he's a real physician. Are you insane? He valued reputation, and Tang Yi was unknown. Brother, are you sure this is who Master wanted? Another disciple asked. Lu Sanxue's face flushed. Master personally requested him. If you disobey, you're disrespecting him. The disciples fell silent. He glared at Chen Dawei. Get out if you don't like it. Tang Yi sniffed the air. Something's wrong. I prescribed 3 liang of ginseng, 2 of nux vomica. Why is there extra? This is dangerous. The disciples paled. He could tell by smell? Nonsense. Chen Dawei scoffed. I have a recording, Tang Yi said, playing it. It confirmed his prescription. The disciples were silenced. The herbs were remeasured. There was extra, a disciple admitted. But it's just for blood stasis. Tang Yi almost laughed. How dare you call yourselves his disciples? You're an embarrassment. They glared at him. Tang Yi examined Chen Qingchuan. The blood stasis was extensive. He sighed. He took out his silver needles. The first one gleamed. The eye soul needle? The disciples thought, awestruck. It was legendary, possessing incredible healing powers. And he had 12? Even the Holy Dragon Club didn't have one. They looked at him with newfound respect. He inserted the needle. The blood stasis seemed to freeze. A chill filled the room. He inserted 2 more, and black blood began to seep out. They were amazed. Such skill. But Chen Qingchuan remained unconscious. Prepare the medicine, Tang Yi instructed. Low heat. Half an hour. They obeyed. He administered the medicine. Chen Qingchuan's color returned, but he was still unconscious. Suddenly, the heart monitor flatlined. What did you do? Chen Dawei roared, pulling out a switchblade. You killed him. You're not leaving here alive. The other disciples closed in. Dawei, stop, a voice boomed. Chen Qingchuan sat up in bed, grabbing Chen Dawei by the throat. Master, you're alive. Thanks to Master Tang. Master Tang, thank you, Chen Qingchuan said. You've brought me back from the brink. What technique did you use? He was eager to learn. Tang Yi retrieved the needles. It was nothing, he said. What is your specialty, Master Tang? I don't specialize. Chen Qingchuan was impressed by his modesty and skill. He'd underestimated him. Sanshui, bring the 3 souls herb. I'll present it to Master Tang myself. He bowed deeply. Rise, Tang Yi said, accepting the gesture. His phone rang. It was Song Qin. Master Tang, the bet is over. What do we do? You lost, she asked, surprised. Chen Qingchuan chuckled. I concede. I've given him the herb. You're not old, she said. Tang Yi is just exceptional. Is there anything else? Tang Yi asked. Let's celebrate. What do you say? Uncle Chen. He saw through her suggestion. I'd be delighted. What about you, Master Tang? Tang Yi wasn't interested in parties. Song Qin quickly said, Uncle Chen he's shy around strangers. He doesn't like crowded places. He was surprised. A man of your abilities? Tang Yi saw through her ploy. Who's afraid, he said. So you'll come? She asked, delighted. Yes. Chen Qingchuan beamed. Sanshui, reserve a room at our nightclub. It's done, Master. We've cleared it out for you. Excellent. He turned to Tang Yi. Shall we? Tang Yi, holding the herb, followed him out. At the Gao residence, Gao Manyue's phone rang. It was her brother. Hangzhou's largest and most legitimate military force, the Tigerman Army, was commanded by Lieutenant Wang Hu. His influence was vast, extending to both the underworld and prominent families. Boss Ma greeted him and led him inside. Who killed my brother? Wang Hu roared. I'll destroy his entire family. Boss Ma showed him the security footage of Gao Manyue leaving the bank after the attempted assault. That bitch, Wang Hu snarled. I'll skin her alive. She's the Gao family CEO. The killer is likely connected to her. I know what to do. Wang Hu stormed out with his men. At the Gao residence, a small party was underway. Young Master Han, Gao Manyue said, raising her glass, thank you for everything. Suddenly soldiers burst in, guns drawn, smashing everything. Don't move. How dare you? Chun Lanxiang yelled, but a soldier slapped her to the floor. Mom! Gao Manyue cried. Who are you? What are you doing? A man in a military greatcoat stepped forward. Your family killed my brother. Is that the Tigerman Army? Someone whispered, terrified. Wang Hu at Chun Lanxiang dragged to his feet. Who gave you the guts to touch my brother? Gao Qingbin pushed a soldier away. Do you know who's here? We have a partnership with the Han family. He turned to Han Anfei. Young Master Han, get rid of these pests. Han Anfei paled. This was Wang Hu. Lieutenant Wang, he stammered, bowing. I'm just a guest. This has nothing to do with me. He tried to leave. Young Master Han? Gao Manyue asked, bewildered. It was all a lie, Miss Gao, he said. I didn't help you. I just wanted to sleep with you. I can't save you now. You're finished. Everyone was stunned. Gao Manyue was heartbroken. She'd trusted him. It had all been a lie. Tears streamed down her face. Tie them up, Wang Hu ordered. Lieutenant, wait. Han Anfei cried, rushing after him. I know who killed your brother. You're bargaining with me? You're nothing. But killing me won't bring him back. How about this? He whispered his plan. Wang Hu smiled cruelly and gestured to his men. Han Anfei approached Gao Manyue. Call Tang Yi. No, bitch, you're nothing now. Call him. She spat in his face. Never. He slapped her. Call him, or I'll kill you. You bastard. Chun Lanxiang shrieked, attacking him, but he kicked her away. Enough! Wang Hu yelled, firing his gun into the air. Everyone screamed. He pointed the gun at Gao Manyue. Call him, or... He shot Gao Qingbin in the leg. Sister, call him. Daughter, he's our only son. She reached for her phone, but Han Anfei grabbed it and gave it to Wang Hu, who dialed. It went to voicemail. Damn it, we're divorced. He doesn't answer my calls. He slapped her. You call him, or you all die. Just call him. Chun Lanxiang cried. I don't want to die. He has nothing to do with us. Gao Qingbin sobbed. Chapter 75. He had originally thought that with his imposing manner, he could completely suppress Tang Yi from top to bottom, even instilling fear in him. But to his surprise, Tang Yi didn't seem to take his words seriously. Eight extremities fists, a style that trades blow for blow, harming the enemy 1,000 while injuring yourself 800. You're actually proud to show off this kind of fist technique. Old man, as the saying goes, don't force what can't be forced. At your age, the realm of a minor grandmaster is indeed hard-won. If someone else at your age was still a minor grandmaster, I think they should be called a failure. Tang Yi said with lowered eyes and a faint smile. The old man frowned. The eyes seemingly suppressed by his eyebrows opened, but they were very small, narrowed into slits. He forced himself to remain calm and said, Brat, do you think you've seen the real eight extremities fists? This set of fist techniques has long been greatly improved. What you said about harming the enemy 1,000 while injuring yourself 800, that was decades ago. It seems that you are still young when it comes to the affairs of the martial world, and you don't even know this little bit of information. The old man's gaze towards Tang, he held 3 more parts coldness and 4 parts ridicule. What a pitiful young man. He must not have had a master to guide him. Otherwise, how could he not know that the 8 extremities fist had been improved? He should know that when the 8 extremities fist was changed back then, it was a sensation in the entire martial world. At that time, a grand banquet was held, inviting most of the elites in Hangzhou. How could this kid not know? Truly a childish and ridiculous fellow. I'm talking about the improved 8 extremities fists. If it hadn't been improved, you might have still had a chance to live, but you practiced the improved version. Originally, you could have lived to be 80, but it seems that if you continue to practice like this, you don't have much time left. Tang Yi said calmly, as if stating a very ordinary matter. His eyes seemed to see through everything, while the old man remained unconvinced. The old man snorted coldly. He spread his hands and immediately took a starting stance. Brat, today I'll show you the 8 extremities fist properly, so you can broaden your horizons. If you can see any clues, then I'll admire you and acknowledge that you have real skill. If you can't see anything, you'll take 3 of my punches today. How about that? The old man was very proud of his 8 extremities fists in his heart. His 8 extremities fists had reached perfection, and the only person who could see any flaws was the old man's master. But the old man's master had passed away when the old man was young. In today's world, no one could understand his 8 extremities fists. If he won, he could freely strike Tang Yi 3 times. Never mind whether Tang Yi could take 3 blows of this fist. He probably couldn't even take 1. Show me what you've got. I'd like to see the complete 8 extremities fists. Tang Yi took a step back. The old man sneered, truly ignorant of death. If he stopped now, the old man might have spared his life. But since he insisted on gambling with him, then don't blame him for being impolite. The old man spread his hands, his fists clenched. The veins on his arms swelled, and a powerful force gathered between his fists. The main requirements of the 8 extremities fists are ferocity and fierceness. Utmost rigidity and strength, fearless. Only attacking, not defending, no retreat. These are the main elements of the 8 extremities fists. And the 8 extremities fists has a total of hammer, strike, blast, shock, drop, throw, and lock. These main moves, each and every one, emphasize using force against force. The improved 8 extremities fists only added hook, shrink, and knead to these moves. These 3 moves use softness to overcome rigidity, violating the principles of 8 extremities fists, leading from the most basic stable practice to a deviant path. A martial art, primarily, is either extremely rigid and strong, or extremely lean and soft. Or it uses stillness to control movement, or slowness to control speed. But if you add lean and soft acupoints to a fierce and vigorous fist technique, it is nothing more than going against its origin, changing its path, and forcibly opening another road. It will inevitably backfire before long. And the old man in front of him also unreservedly demonstrated all the moves and routines of the changed eight extremities fists. He even thought that Tang Yi, this young man, wouldn't understand even if he showed him everything. As the last move concluded, the old man retracted his stance and smiled, his mustache upturned. After seeing so much, he certainly wouldn't be able to discern anything. He would need to hold back some strength when he delivered the 3 punches later, so as not to kill this young man. Otherwise, how would he witness his future glory? "How was it, kid? Did you have your eyes open this time?" The old man said, raising an eyebrow. "It seems I wasn't wrong. If you continue to practice this 8 extremities fists, it will surely cost you your life." Tang Yi's eyes were even firmer than before. If he hadn't seen it, it would have been fine, but seeing it confirmed his belief that this 8 extremities fist would indeed cost him his life, and not in a while, but probably very soon. 8 extremities fists. Although you performed all those fist routines, you only grasped the form, but not the essence. This set of fist techniques was created during the Great Zhou dynasty. If I remember correctly, you are about the 39th generation to inherit it. That is to say, in these 39 generations, this set of fist techniques has undergone fundamental changes through generations of transmission. Perhaps only its name is the same as when it was created. The old man was stunned when he heard this. He instantly felt that he was talking nonsense. How could anyone be more familiar with 8 extremities fists than him? As the only disciple of the 8 extremities fists, he had a manual of the 8 extremities fists in his hand, and the meaning written inside was very clear. It was practiced exactly as he did. "Kid, don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. It's as if you know more about 8 extremities fists than I do. Then why aren't you the sole inheritor of 8 extremities fists, and I am?" Tang Yi raised his eyes, his gaze full of disdain, and said, "That's because I simply didn't take a liking to 8 extremities fists. When this set of fist techniques was created, it was intended to break through to the ultimate fierce realm. But in the generations of transmission, people did not choose fierceness, but chose ultimate ruthlessness." The old man's eyes paused. "What's the difference between the two? And you're still a practitioner of 8 extremities fists, and you don't even know the difference between the two. If I were your ancestor, I would climb out of my coffin and slap you twice," Tang Yi said sarcastically. Chapter 76. The old man felt utterly humiliated by these words. His expression froze, and he immediately retorted, "I started training in martial arts at the age of 8. Within 20 years, I had become a figure of admiration in Hangzhou. When I was 30, my master passed away, and I established my own school. Up to this age, I've only grown stronger year by year. This 8 extremities fist can be said to have Wenchuan my entire life. I have spent my life inheriting my master's legacy. And you dare to say I don't understand 8 extremities fists? You are simply insulting me." The old man focused his spirit and gathered his energy. His fist clenched tightly, and he struck towards Tang Yi's face. Just this single punch carried a fierce wind. Tang Yi's eyes locked on, instantly recognizing it as the blast move of the 8 extremities fists. This move was extremely domineering, specifically targeting the opponent's face, seeking victory through unexpected methods. Tang Yi's eyes lit up, and with a tilt of his head, he easily dodged this 8 extremities fists move. The old man retracted his fist, looking at it with confusion. This brat actually dodged his 8 extremities fists so easily? Could this kid really be a master? Impossible. At such a young age, he absolutely couldn't have such cultivation. He pondered for a moment, then suddenly realized that he had just demonstrated the 8 extremities fists in front of him. He must have memorized his moves, which is why he could dodge so easily. Yes, that must be it. Otherwise, how could a kid so easily dodge the fist techniques he had practiced for decades? This brat was incredibly cunning. He had deceived him out of his fist techniques and was still here shamelessly insulting him. "Old sir, I don't think you should practice this 8 extremities fists anymore. Can't you see the problem with it? That punch just now was indeed unexpected. An ordinary person wouldn't have been able to react. But when you unleash the 8 extremities fists, your eyes filled with blood. As long as this is noticed, your moves can be preemptively countered," Tang Yi said with a calm expression and relaxed eyebrows. But the old man didn't take it seriously. He still believed that Tang Yi had peaked at his fist techniques, which is why he had dodged so easily. As for the bloodshot eyes, that was because he had cultivated the 8 extremities fist to the most powerful realm. That's why such a situation would occur when he unleashed his moves. Brat, stop your boasting. You just dodged one of my moves? Do you think you're so lucky? I don't believe you can memorize this entire set of 8 extremities fists. If you have the guts, try taking a few more of my moves. This set of 8 extremities fists, although it didn't have many variations, had a total of 108 moves from start to finish. Each move required a huge expenditure of energy. Even if Tang Yi could see it all once, the old man didn't believe he could remember it all. Tang Yi pursed his lips and smiled. It seemed that today he could spar with the master of 8 extremities fists. It was quite an interesting thing for him. It was a good opportunity to test the effect of the 3 souls herb he had absorbed earlier. Tang Yi put one hand behind his back, extended a questioning hand, and said with a faint smile, "In that case, I'll humbly experience a few of the old sir's moves to see if this 8 extremities fist is as powerful as the legends say." The old man's beard quivered with anger. This kid actually dared to face him with one hand? In the entire Hangzhou, no one had the guts to meet his 8 extremities fists with just one hand. He should know that the 8 extremities fists emphasized power and strength. If he unleashed his full power, even a martial artist using both hands to block would have their ribs broken. And yet, this kid, Tang Yi, dared to face him with one hand? One punch, and he'd be smashed to pieces. The old man smiled disdainfully. Young people are indeed arrogant, but you will eventually pay the price for your arrogance. The old man took a starting stance, took a deep breath, and quickly turned his palm into a fist. The fist swung in the air, like a hammer weighing hundreds of pounds, producing a booming sound. Tang Yi could see that the old man's lower body was very stable. He must have practiced the horse stance a lot. Only when a martial artist's horse stance is solid can their martial arts be deeply cultivated. If the lower body is unstable, then no matter how good the upper body's martial arts are, they can be easily broken through by others. The approaching old man was like a 1,000-pound bell. He quickly stepped forward and unleashed a move, Fierce Tiger descending the mountain. He struck forcefully at Tang Yi's chest with a punch. The old man smiled. This kid didn't even mean to dodge. If this 8 extremities fist hit, he would be dead or injured. Just as he was considering whether to pull back his strength, Tang Yi rotated his questioning hand and caught his fist with one hand. The old man's eyes widened, and he stopped in his tracks in surprise. You can actually see my movements?" The old man looked at his wrist being firmly grasped by Tang Yi, and for a moment, he felt a little scared. Never mind the immense power of this punch. The speed alone was as fast as a bullet. An ordinary person, let alone catching it, wouldn't even be able to see it clearly. But this kid seemed to have no intention of dodging from beginning to end. Was his goal just to come into contact with his 8 extremities fists? Tang Yi firmly grasped the old man's wrist, placing 3 fingers on the old man's pulse, and frowned. When you unleash your moves, do you feel your blood surging, your chest feeling tight, and you become irritable from time to time? The old man's arm suddenly went limp, and he said with a trembling voice, "How did you know? It seems you really did steal my 8 extremities fists. You even know the internal energy cultivation method?" Tang Yi sneered. "This kind of internal energy cultivation method is worthy of me practicing. Blood surging, chest tightness. This means your chi and blood are attacking your heart. 8 extremities fists depletes the meridians. If I'm not mistaken, you snore very loudly at night, and when you wake up in the morning, you're dazed and have no appetite. But before going to bed at night, you are exceptionally excited and can't fall asleep. Am I right?" The old man suddenly felt that what this young man said made a lot of sense. He seemed to understand his 8 extremities fists even more thoroughly than he did himself. He had indeed been experiencing these symptoms recently, but he just thought it was because he was getting older and that everyone was like this. "Isn't this normal?" the old man asked in a deep voice. "Normal? If you were in your 70s, then it would indeed be normal. But you're not even 60 years old yet. If you continue like this." Chapter 77. Tang Yi's voice paused. The old man was even more curious about what Tang Yi was going to say next, but then he thought about it carefully. His 8 extremities fist was indeed practiced according to the book, And the book did indeed mention that the following problems would occur. So even if Tang Yi could see it, it wouldn't be fake. It could only prove that he had some strength, but it couldn't prove that he really understood 8 extremities fists. That's what the book says. This book has been passed down through generations in our family. How could I not know? The old man said seriously. Tang Yi said, the things in the book have changed over the years. This martial art might have worked decades ago, but now, according to the changes in people's diets and the continuous improvement of medical technology, if you continue to practice this martial art, you will have an excess of yang and a deficiency of yin. Hearing these words, the old man finally opened his eyes and looked solemnly at the young man in front of him. He saw that the young man was only about 26 or 27 years old. He couldn't help but sigh and ask, "Where did you learn about 8 extremities fists? I just showed you the moves. I didn't tell you the internal energy cultivation method." From your words, I seem to hear that you are very familiar with the 8 extremities fists of our school. No, it can no longer be described as understanding. Perhaps you seem to know the true meaning of 8 extremities fists. The old man's eyes were filled with a grave expression when he looked at Tang Yi. Compared to his previous disdain for Tang Yi, there was now more of a desire for in-depth understanding. If the old sir doesn't mind, I'll perform a set of 8 extremities fists. Let the old sir give me some pointers, Tang Yi said with cupped hands. The old man took a deep breath. He asked in a deep voice, 8 extremities fists for so many years in Hangzhou, only I know it. If you could perform it too, that would be truly incredible. Then please watch carefully, old sir. Tang Yi slowly extended his fists opening. A powerful internal force flowed from the inside out, and a continuous stream of power flowed from the outside in. It seemed that Tang Yi's entire body was wrapped in an invisible energy. His whole body was filled with inexhaustible strength. 8 extremities fists. If one wants to perform the most effective moves without injuring the body, then one must ensure that the body's essence and qi are sufficient, and there must be no leakage of qi. This martial art is originally such that the older the person, the more powerful and profound the practice. But if there is even the slightest bit of slack, going astray is only a matter of moments. Tang Yi punched forward with one fist, and the other fist followed. Then his body moved with the form, like a fierce tiger charging. In this pavilion, there seemed to be a powerful energy emanating from his body. He punched a stone tablet in front of him. 3 cracks appeared on the stone tablet, but Tang Yi's qi and blood were calm, without any turbulence. This made the old man beside him stare in disbelief. This was indeed the 8 extremities fists he practiced, but this 8 extremities fist was not the same as the one he was familiar with. First of all, Tang Yi's eyes were not red, and his qi and blood seemed very stable, without any signs of chest tightness or shortness of breath. Could it be that he had really practiced it wrong? Following that, Tang Yi circulated his power in both palms, a powerful internal force contained between them. He once again transformed his palms into fists and punched towards the bamboo forest beside him. Dozens of bamboo trees swayed precariously, and the bamboo leaves on them fell instantly. Tang Yi retracted his fists, and an internal force returned to his body. He exhaled a long breath and said, 8 extremities fists is still a good set of fists. It's a pity that it's not suitable for young people like me, but for you, old sir, it's really perfect. Changing the way you practice might be better. Before Tang Yi demonstrated the 8 extremities fists, the old man was still full of doubts about Tang Yi. But when he finished watching Tang Yi demonstrate the complete 8 extremities fists, his heart was shaken. This set of fist techniques actually had such a way of performing it. And there was no mention of harming the enemy 1,000 while injuring oneself 800. On the contrary, it was 10 times more powerful than the original method. The old man immediately cupped his hands. Young hero, I didn't expect you to have such strength at such a young age. It really makes this old man admire you immensely. Young man, this old man was blind before. Please don't take it to heart. Seeing Tang Yi's strength, the old man immediately became humble. After all, Tang Yi had just said that if he continued to practice his 8 extremities fists, he might not live for many more days. So he still wanted to learn from Tang Yi how to improve. Tang Yi waved his hand and said with a smile, I didn't take it to heart. It's just that this 8 extremities fist of yours, it won't be easy to change it in a short time. Before that, you need to drink more medicine to nourishing deficiency, and then practice the fist techniques I just performed twice a day, once in the morning, noon, and evening. Before long, your body will be fine. The old man was overjoyed when he heard this. He immediately cupped his hands and said respectfully, "Young hero, you truly are a hero among youths. I thought that at my age, I had seen all the masters in the world, but I didn't expect that the real masters are still among the common people. I, Lu Qingyun, truly admire you." Lu Qingyun, the founder of the largest martial arts school in Hangzhou, Qingyun School. How many business owners wanted to spend a lot of money to hire Lu Qingyun as a bodyguard, but they didn't even have the opportunity to meet Lu Qingyun. Even the disciples of Qingyun School publicly threw money on the ground, letting large amounts of cash scatter in the wind, just to tell the world that Lu Qingyun only valued the way of martial arts and was not interested in money. And at this moment, a group of disciples wearing white Taoist robes rushed up from under the pavilion. These disciples looked like they had practiced martial arts at a glance, and they were all Lu Qingyun's disciples. Even their breathing frequency was very similar to Lu Qingyun's. 5 or 6 people came up and surrounded Tang Yi first. One of them, named a Qi, assumed the starting stance of the 8 extremities fists. "Master, we sensed from afar that there was a figure here with powerful spiritual power. We disciples were worried about your safety, so we came to check. Did this person hurt you?" Lu Qingyun scolded. "All of you step back. If this young man wanted to hurt me, 100 of you wouldn't be his match." The crowd seemed to not believe this sentence. The young man in front of them was about the same age as them. How could he be Lu Qingyun's opponent? "Master, you mean he can beat us?" Chapter 78. The crowd exchanged glances, staring at Tang Yi, and couldn't help but wonder if this kid really had such strength. Luckily, their master had stopped them, otherwise they wouldn't even know how they died. Lu Qingyun waved his hand, signaling for them to step back. He said, "Young man, your fist techniques today have amazed me. I see that we are truly fated, and you have even given me some pointers. If you have any requests, just speak up." Many people wanted to know Lu Qingyun's whereabouts. With his prestige and reputation in Hangzhou, if he wanted to accomplish something, it was just a matter of a phone call and a sentence. Therefore, many people wanted to ask for his help, but unfortunately, they didn't know his whereabouts. Even if they knew his whereabouts, Lu Qingyun wouldn't necessarily help, because for him, people who were not necessary were a burden. Today, he had received guidance from Tang Yi, and he wouldn't take it for free. Seeing that Tang Yi was so young, he must have a request for him, which is why he deliberately practiced his fist here to attract his attention. Unexpectedly, Tang Yi said expressionlessly, "Old sir, you're overthinking. I taught you only because I didn't want you to die so early. Seeing that you have this martial art is not easy, and I don't want the 8 extremities fist to disappear." Lu Qingyun opened his eyes and asked, "Could it be? You weren't waiting for me here on purpose?" "No." Tang Yi casually threw the used 3 souls herb into the bamboo forest. He glanced at the old man and quickly left. Watching Tang Yi's back as he descended the stairs, Lu Qingyun couldn't help but think, at such a young age, not for fame, not for profit, only to save my life, he passed on such divine skills to me. It seems that he is the true grandmaster of this generation. Song family. Song Qin had just hung up the phone with old Master Song. She put the phone on the desk, lay back in her chair, faced the ceiling, and exhaled. "Xiaolin," Song Qin called out expressionlessly. A woman in a work uniform entered from outside the door, also Song Qin's secretary. "President Song? What's up?" Xiaolin smiled. "Book a private room at the Dingxing building. I'm going to host a dinner for people from the military tonight," Song Qin said. "Military?" Xiaolin's expression was surprised. "President Song, we usually have no connection with the military. Even if there is, it's always old master who handles it. Why are you?" The matters of the military had always been handled by old Master Song before this. Most of the military's expenses were also covered by the Song family. The relationship between the two had been very good for so many years, and it could be said that they had achieved mutual success. Song Qin, lying in her chair, raised her head and sat up straight, saying, "It's precisely because it has always been old master who handled it, so this time it should be my turn." For the Song family status in Hangzhou, the passing on of connections must also be firmly grasped. "All right, why am I telling you so much? Go and prepare." Xiaolin nodded and pushed the door open to leave. At this time, Song Qin was attracted by the sound of the phone on the table. It was a phone number starting with 0. This number. Song Qin was stunned. Only people from the military would have this number. She didn't dare to neglect it, immediately picked it up, and answered. "Hello, Governor Zhu. I've already made arrangements. We'll meet at the Dingsheng building tonight." The Dingsheng building was the best restaurant in Hangzhou. In order to express her sincerity for this banquet, she chose this place. "Miss Song, you've gone to great expense. Why go to so much trouble? What's the difference between your home and mine?" The voice on the other end of the phone said with a smile. Song Qin always felt that there was something hidden in these words, but for the sake of cooperation, she didn't think much about it. She immediately smiled and replied, "How can that be? The cooking at home is not enough to entertain a big shot like you. I even think that entertaining you at the Dingsheng building, the best hotel in Hangzhou, is doing you an injustice." "Ha ha, Miss Song, you're too kind. Then let's meet tonight. I have something to do. I'll hang up now." "Okay, see you tonight." She hung up the phone. Song Qin exhaled. She had a headache dealing with these military people. If it was too extravagant, it would be exposed as showing off. If it was too shabby, it would mean looking down on them. And the Song family, sitting in this position, could not be low-key, no matter what. Being low-key would only make others look down on them. She could only privately invite this Governor Zhu for a meal to get closer. In the afternoon, the private room of the Dingsheng building was already filled with delicacies. Song Qin arrived a step early. In order to avoid any mistakes, she also checked the dishes. It was also to her satisfaction. She took out her phone and was about to call Governor Zhu when suddenly the door of the private room was pushed open. 2 waiters wearing uniforms stood on either side of the red carpet, making a gesture of invitation and maintaining a smile. It seemed that the guests had arrived. Song Qin quickly walked to the waiter's side and prepared to greet them. On the red carpet, a man wearing a coat and smoking a cigarette walked over. He was followed by 2 fierce-looking henchmen. "Governor Zhu, hello." Song Qin extended a hand. Governor Zhu was stunned for a moment, looking at the woman in front of him. She seemed much more beautiful than he had imagined. He had also inquired about the eldest daughter of the Song family before and had seen her photos in many magazines. From the magazines, she only looked very charming. He, who had seen many beauties, had always been unfazed. Only when he saw her in person today did he know what a peerless beauty was. In order for today's banquet to be successful, Song Qin also carefully dressed herself up. A light red dress revealed 2 straight, long legs. The upper part of the dress did not completely cover the 2 peaks on her chest. The exposed white part made the 2 henchmen stare. Governor Zhu also extended a hand and unceremoniously grasped Song Qin's hand tightly. Song Qin's hand was thin and long, more delicate than that of a piano player. Once he grabbed it, he didn't want to let go. "Miss Song, I've heard of your name for a long time. I hope you can continue to cooperate with our military like your grandfather." Governor Zhu held Song Qin's hand with both hands, and the strength in his arms was very strong. Song Qin felt uncomfortable and quickly withdrew her arm. To ease the awkwardness, she pointed to a chair and said, "In that case, please take a seat, Governor Zhu. I wonder if the dishes at the Dingsheng building suit your taste." Governor Zhu glanced at the dishes on the table. No matter how good these dishes were, they were not as good as the beauty in front of him. Chapter 79. Only 2 people were in the private room. The rest had been sent out by Governor Zhu. As soon as he sat down, Governor Zhu stared at Song Qin with a lecherous gaze. Neither of them spoke first, and the atmosphere became strangely quiet, until Song Qin glanced at Governor Zhu, picked up the wine bottle from the table, and poured him a glass of red wine, while also pouring herself a glass. Governor Zhu took a gentle sniff. This Song Qin was really fragrant. A faint, subtle fragrance entered his nostrils, and his mind began to imagine indescribable things with Song Qin in this private room. Song Qin raised her glass. "Governor Zhu, I toast you with this glass." "Good, good." After the first glass, the 2 also eased the awkwardness. The atmosphere was good at the beginning, and Song Qin was ready to seize the opportunity and directly said, "Governor Zhu, the Song family has been supported by the military for so many years. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid there would be many people in Hangzhou opposing our Song family." The military had not actually done anything to help the Song family, but the Song family had been using the military's prestige to do things with fewer obstacles. It was a kind of borrowing the tiger's might, but it was this kind of momentum that gave them a high reputation in Hangzhou, and ordinary people did not dare to easily provoke the Song family. So Song Qin tactfully thanked the military for their help to the Song family in recent years, and also expressed what she needed. For Governor Zhu, it was just a matter of lifting a finger. To put it bluntly, he basically didn't need to do anything. Just standing there could bring a lot of help to the Song family. Governor Zhu smiled. "Miss Song is really too polite. Our military has also been supported by the Song family's financial support for so many years. If this aspect can be improved in the future, the help provided by our military will also be substantial." Governor Zhu knew that Song Qin would absolutely not refuse this condition. Money for the Song family was like blank paper, perhaps even less valuable than blank paper. And the military happened to have many places where they needed money. Whether it was for weapons or training, it was a considerable expense. And for the Song family, it was the military that chose them, not them choosing the military. There were many wealthy tycoons in Hangzhou. Even the Long family, which ranked second, could provide financial assistance to the military. However, the relationship between the Song family and the military for so many years had long made it impossible for others to get involved. Of course, Song Qin agreed without hesitation, and then poured another glass of wine for Governor Zhu. Governor Zhu narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, "Miss Song is really young and promising. I always thought Miss Song was at least 30 years old. Seeing you today, I found that you were so beautiful and so young." Song Qin smiled. Many people praised her for her beauty, and she wouldn't lose herself because of this sentence. She raised her glass and said, "Governor Zhu, you flatter me. I wonder if such a beautiful Miss Song has a boyfriend?" Governor Zhu asked tentatively. Song Qin put down the wine glass in her hand, and her expression froze. After hesitating, she still said, "Not yet, but I already have someone I like." Governor Zhu was secretly delighted after hearing this. A person like Miss Song, even if she has someone she likes, shouldn't still be single, right? Logically, what kind of man would win Miss Song's heart? He's just an ordinary person. Ordinary person? How ordinary? Song Qin thought for a moment and said, "Just an ordinary person, the kind you can see on the street every day." Governor Zhu frowned. This woman in front of him was the eldest daughter of the Song family, and she actually fell for a loser? Her taste was so bad, she must not be a very powerful character. His first impression of Song Qin was that she was beautiful, and his second impression was that she was busty and brainless. Such a woman, even if he played with her today, it would just be playing. Presumably, it wouldn't cause any big problems. He was very excited to think about playing with the eldest daughter of the Song family today. "Miss Song, you know that we generally don't drink red wine. This kind of red wine is not satisfying for us." Looking at the red wine in Song Qin's hand, a trace of displeasure flashed across Governor Zhu's face. Song Qin was stunned. Was it because she hadn't entertained him well? Come to think of it, how could the alcohol content of this mere red wine be comparable to the high-grade white wine they drank? Song Qin immediately got up, called a waiter, and asked the waiter to change to white wine. The most expensive white wine here was only a little over 1 million yuan a bottle. It was not a problem for the Song family. When the waiter brought the white wine to the table, Governor Zhu snatched it, opened the bottle cap, and poured a glass of wine without hesitation, placing it in front of Song Qin. "Miss Song, I don't enjoy drinking white wine alone. I wonder if you can drink some with me?" Governor Zhu revealed a wicked smile. Song Qin held the red wine in her hand and said, "Governor Zhu, with my drinking capacity, I'm only suitable for drinking red wine. If I drink white wine, I'm afraid I won't be able to accompany you to your satisfaction." Governor Zhu said displeasedly, "Miss Song, are you looking down on me? I, such a big governor, came to accompany you for a drink. Do I still have to consider your feelings?" Song Qin was stunned. Governor Zhu, who had been amiable just now, suddenly seemed to have changed into a different person. This attitude was clearly not here for cooperation. Looking at the bottle of white wine in front of her, Song-Chin knew that if she drank the white wine today, she would definitely not be able to go back. Miss Song, what are you hesitating about? Could it be that you want me, the guest, to invite you? Governor Zhu's voice sank. Song-Chin, in an attempt to ease the atmosphere, said amiably, Governor Zhu, how about this? I'll order a drinking companion to accompany you to your satisfaction. If the drinking companion is not enough, then I'll join you myself. Governor Zhu, for the sake of his own little desires, how could he let Song-Chin order a drinking companion? He immediately slammed his palm on the table, stood up, and said, Is this the sincerity of your Song family? Do you know how many things I pushed aside today to come and cooperate with you? You Song family, you don't even give me the face of a glass of wine. It seems that you've really grown big in the past 2 years. I don't know how many people in Hangzhou want to climb into a relationship with our military. Today, letting you drink this glass of wine is entirely for your grandfather's sake. Song-Chin was shocked by this slap. It seemed that she knew that if she didn't drink this glass of wine today, he would definitely terminate the cooperation with the Song family. She didn't want to offend the military, and she didn't want to lose the military's help. Chapter 80. Governor, please don't be angry. Song-Chin's expression paused, and she said softly. Governor Zhu laughed again, pretending that nothing had happened, and continued, I'm not angry, I just want you to have a drink with me. Don't be nervous. Song-Chin had no choice but to sit down. She sat beside Governor Zhu and poured herself a glass of white wine. She raised her glass and clinked it with Governor Zhu's. The smile on Governor Zhu's face could no longer be concealed. He drank all the wine in his glass in one gulp. Then he looked at Song-Chin, watching her reluctantly drink the wine in her hand. At first, Song-Chin took a small sip, but Governor Zhu directly raised Song-Chin's glass with his hand and said, What's the matter with you drinking so little? Drink it all, or you won't enjoy it. Song-Chin moaned, and all the wine in the glass flowed down her throat. She felt a burning sensation in her throat, as if a branding iron had flowed down. It was very uncomfortable. She rarely drank white wine. White wine was very strong and not suitable for her. Seeing that she had finished a glass, Governor Zhu was also happy. He once again took the decanter and filled Song-Chin's glass. Governor Zhu, I can't drink anymore. Song-Chin immediately waved her hand and said. But no matter how fast her hand waved, Governor Zhu had already finished pouring the wine. Drink. Don't worry. If you drink too much today, I'll take you home. The Song family is such a big establishment. I haven't seen it yet. If you drink with me to my satisfaction today, I'll say a few good words about you in front of your grandfather. Governor Zhu raised his glass and placed it at Song-Chin's lips. Song-Chin grasped the glass with both hands and reluctantly took another sip. Following that, Governor Zhu kept pouring her wine. Song-Chin was already slightly drunk. Her whole body was weak, and her eyes were blurred. Governor Zhu took the opportunity to sit next to Song-Chin, one hand touching Song-Chin's long legs. His dark face unconsciously leaned toward Song-Chin. Even if Song-Chin was drunk, she was very sensitive to men's dirty hands. She knew what this Governor Zhu wanted to do, and immediately stood up. Excuse me, Governor Zhu, I'm a little overwhelmed by the alcohol right now. I'm going to the restroom. After Song-Chin finished speaking, she braced herself and pushed open the door. As soon as she went out, she quickly ran towards the restroom. She vomited into the sink, wishing she could vomit everything in her stomach to sober up. After a while, she had vomited enough, turned on the faucet, and washed her face. The cold, bone-chilling water rushed to her heart. Looking at herself in the mirror, her face was already slightly drunk. If she continued to drink like this, something big would definitely happen. She then took out her phone and composed a message. Without hesitation, she chose Tang Yi and pressed send. She didn't know if Tang Yi would come to save her now, but the only person who had the strength to save her now was Tang Yi. The atmosphere in the restroom was very quiet. It was already past midnight. Basically, very few people would stay in such a high-end restaurant as the Dingxing building until 12 o'clock, except for people like them who had some status and wealth in Hangzhou. At this moment, she had no intention of returning to the private room. She braced herself against the sink with both hands, listening to the sound of the water flowing rapidly from the faucet. In the mirror, her face was slightly red, her hair was messy, and her eyes were blurred. She took a deep breath, For the sake of the Song family, so that they could continue to cooperate with the military, she would go all out today. After washing her face with cold water, she set off to return to the private room. In the private room, Governor Zhu hung up a phone call and revealed a wicked smile. He took out a packet of powder from his clothes, tore it open, and poured it into Song Qin's wine glass without hesitation. These days, women wanted to be both virtuous and glamorous. They wanted to maintain their status, dressed up beautifully, but were unwilling to give anything. It was simply wishful thinking. Song Qin pushed open the door and vaguely sensed that Governor Zhu was doing something. But her eyes were blurred, and when she stood firm, Governor Zhu had already come to her side. A lecherous hand wrapped around Song Qin's waist and helped her onto the chair. "Miss Song, I've seen your drinking capacity today. Let's have one last drink, and after that, I'll take you home. From now on, the relationship between the military and the Song family will be even better." Governor Zhu placed the glass of wine laced with the drug in front of Song Qin. Song Qin looked at the glass of wine in front of her, and for a moment, she was a little dazed. However, when Governor Zhu said that the relationship between the military and the Song family would be even better, her heart also trembled. This was something that many people dreamed of, so she resolutely picked up the glass of wine in her hand. "Governor Zhu, I toast you." Governor Zhu was immediately overjoyed and smiled as he raised his glass to clink with Song Qin's. But he didn't drink the wine in his hand. His gaze was fixed on Song Qin. Only when Song Qin put down the glass, without a drop of wine left, did he breathe a sigh of relief. "Then let's stop here for today. Next time, when I have time, I'll treat Governor Zhu to a meal again," Song Qin said, preparing to get up. But suddenly she felt dizzy. She knew her own drinking capacity. Her drinking capacity was not too bad. If it was white wine with her current state, one more glass wouldn't be too much, and one less glass wouldn't be too little. It shouldn't be to the point where she couldn't even stand up. Suddenly, the hand supporting her on the table lost its strength, and Song Qin collapsed onto the chair. She struggled a few more times, but still couldn't stand up. Just when she was confused, a large black hand landed on her delicate face. "What a beautiful little beauty. Wouldn't it be a pity for a beauty like you to be a president? Tonight, if you serve me well, I can guarantee the Song family any amount of military support they want." Governor Zhu's eyes gleamed with lust. But at this moment, Song Qin's mind was blank, and she had no time to think. "No, don't." Song Qin's face flushed red. It wasn't the kind of red from being drunk, but a kind of shy look. Her palms involuntarily wanted to push Governor Zhu's body away. But when she placed her two hands on Governor Zhu's shoulders, she continuously emitted moaning sounds. Governor Zhu was like a hungry wolf. "Damn it, I'm so damn horny." Governor Zhu looked at the alluring Song Qin. She was truly a piece of meat. He wished he could bite her now and release all his strength on her. Song Qin was still trying to push Governor Zhu away. Suddenly, Song Qin felt the clothes on her lower body being ripped open in an instant. A gust of cold wind poured into her body. Chapter 81. Song Qin only felt a dirty hand. This palm was very disgusting, making her want to vomit. She closed her eyes, not wanting to face this reality. From today on, she was an unclean woman. The dignified eldest daughter of the Song family was actually defiled by such a disgusting villain. She might as well die. However, she didn't have any strength, and she couldn't even bite her tongue to commit suicide. Governor Zhu directly tore open the clothes on Song Qin's chest, coupled with Song Qin's already lustful writhing. "I really can't hold back anymore." He picked up Song Qin with both hands and carried her to the sofa. He threw her hard onto the sofa, looking at Song Qin's already naked body, with only 2 pieces of underwear that were insufficient to cover her. He unbuckled his belt, panting heavily. "I can't hold back anymore. I must play with you all tonight, or I'll be letting myself down for holding back all night." As soon as the belt was unbuckled, a sound of a door being kicked open with unstoppable force startled him, causing him to shrink back. Bang! The door of the private room was kicked open, and the chair next to the door flew out directly, landing at Governor Zhu's heels. "Damn it! Who the hell is so bold? Daring to kick my door?" Governor Zhu pulled up his belt. His interest was interrupted, and a surge of anger rose in his heart. To be interrupted at this juncture, he wished he could cut the person who came into 1,000 pieces. In a daze, Song Qin, lying on the sofa, slightly opened her eyes. She saw a man standing at the door, clenching his fists, his face full of killing intent. Tang. Master Tang. Tang Yi's appearance made Song Qin perceive a glimmer of hope in the dark corner. She even suspected that the drug was too strong, causing her to hallucinate. Tang Yi raised his eyebrows and looked. The private room was already in a mess, with Song Qin's pink hip-hugging skirt fallen on the ground. And next to it stood a thin, dark man. Coupled with Tang Yi's familiarity with medicinal herbs, he could smell a strong scent of an aphrodisiac just by sniffing. Tang Yi immediately realized what had just happened in this private room. It was you who had bad intentions towards her? Tang. He looked coldly at the man in front of him. This man was quite tall, with two very small eyes. He looked like a shifty-eyed person at first glance. Not only did he look ugly, but he was also extremely waso inwardly. Kid, do you know where this is, that you dare to make trouble here? I think you've lived enough. I was just about to get what I wanted, and now you've ruined my mood. Man! Governor Zhu roared towards the outside. But after a moment, no one came forward. Just as he was hesitating, Tang Yi said with a faint smile, "Those ignorant things under your command have all been taken care of by me. If you know what's good for you, cut off your own hands and get out of here." Governor Zhu frowned when he heard this. He felt that this kid was talking nonsense. The people under his command were all top-notch special forces. How could they not be able to beat this seemingly weak kid? "I don't care what you're doing here today, but you interrupted my good time. I won't let you leave here alive." As Governor Zhu spoke, he was about to draw out the gun holster at his waist. But just as he lifted his clothes and was about to draw his gun, Tang Yi flashed, suddenly appearing in front of him, firmly grasping the arm he was about to draw his gun with. With a twist of his hand, he pressed Governor Zhu onto the table. The strength in this arm was at least several hundred pounds. Governor Zhu struggled with all his might, but he couldn't break free at all. Governor Zhu was caught off guard. He lay on the table with difficulty, his face full of pain. "Damn it! Let go of me quickly, or I'll make you pay." Governor Zhu roared ineffectually. "Let go. Okay, I'll let go now." Tang, he said with a cold smile. His voice was like piercing cold ice. As the strength in his hand continued to increase, a creaking sound came from Governor Zhu's wrist. The crisp sound of bones was still no match for his screams. Finally, crack. Governor Zhu's arm was forcibly torn off, and the scene was instantly bloody. Several servants rushed in immediately. Seeing the scene in front of them, they couldn't help but vomit at the door. Bang! Tang Yi kicked out. This kick seemed full of power. It hit Governor Zhu right in the navel. Governor Zhu flipped over along the table. He fell from one side of the table to the other, and the chair opposite was smashed. "Ah, I'm going to kill you. I must kill you. What are you looking at? Why aren't you doing something?" Governor Zhu screamed hysterically. The several servants were stunned for a moment. Looking at Governor Zhu's bloody hand, they couldn't help but feel a sense of fear. Several people took out electric batons from their waists. With electric batons in hand, they felt invincible. With the electric batons, they had mustered up their courage. One of the servants was bolder and immediately charged towards Tang Yi. Tang Yi's eyes lit up, and he grabbed the arm of the approaching person. He snatched the electric baton from his hand and stuffed the electric baton into the scary man's mouth. An uppercut hit the servant's jaw. The powerful squeezing force directly crushed the electric baton in his mouth. A powerful electric current struck, and this scary man was directly electrocuted and fainted. There were two other servants, one in front and one behind, who rushed up. They were also holding electric batons in their hands. Tang Yi slapped them one by one, as if he were hitting children. He slapped the two of them under the table and took the electric batons from their hands. He walked step by step to Governor Zhu's side. Seeing this scene, Governor Zhu was already so scared that he curled up in the corner. The killing intent in Tang Yi's eyes was like a gaze from the abyss. The killing intent contained in it was already bottomless. Governor Zhu trembled and curled up. "You, what are you doing here? I don't know you, and I certainly haven't offended you. Can you let me go? If there is any misunderstanding, we must discuss it properly and try to resolve it." Governor Zhu knelt down on his knees in front of Tang Yi, begging. Tang Yi's eyes looked to the side, at Song Qin, who was barely clothed. At this moment, Tang Yi's heart was even more angry, and his eyes were already filled with blood. You said there was no misunderstanding between us. You're right. This is not a misunderstanding between us. Chapter 82. Tang Yi took out silver needles from behind. 6 silver needles were directly inserted into Governor Zhu's chest. At the same point, Governor Zhu's qi and blood surged, and his eyes rolled back. The whole person lost consciousness and fainted to death. Tang Yi looked at the way he was foaming at the mouth and took a deep breath. Letting you die like this is really letting you off easy. Afterward, Tang Yi came to Song Qin's side, took off his coat, and draped it over Song Qin's body. He sat beside Song Qin and took her pulse. Tang Yi's eyes darkened slightly. She had only taken a little aphrodisiac. It was not a big problem. She would wake up before long. Just as he was about to leave, Song Qin suddenly grabbed his arm. Master Tang, save me. Master Tang, I'm sorry. Song Qin closed her eyes, and a tear rolled down her cheek. Seeing this, Tang Yi used his hand to brush away her hair and wipe away the tears from the corners of her eyes. This should be Song Qin. Before she took the aphrodisiac, the person she was thinking about was Tang Yi. And now, she must be in a deep sleep, dreaming of Tang Yi and constantly apologizing to him. Tang Yi sighed. Miss Song, let me take you home. Tang Yi picked up Song Qin and left the Ding Sheng building directly. It was already late at night, and there were basically no people on the road. He directly hailed a taxi and took Miss Song to the floating cloud villa. After placing her on the bed, Tang Yi sat alone in the living room. He prepared a glass of red wine for himself and tasted it on Ly. He knew that this woman seemed to have different feelings for him. But now when a woman wanted to get close to him, he would always unconsciously think of the person who had hurt him the most. It seemed that, until now, the woman who had hurt him the most still couldn't understand him, and even doubted him. At this time, Tang Yi's phone suddenly received a text message. It was from the old man from before. If he remembered correctly, this old man was Lu Qingyun. In the text message, Lu Qingyun's tone was very humble. Young friend, I don't know if you remember me. After your guidance last time, my body is recovering better every day. Tomorrow, I will be holding a martial arts banquet. I wonder if you have time, and if you would like to come and have a look. Looking at the text message in front of him, Tang Yi frowned. He seemed to be a little interested in this kind of martial arts. However, he did not have high expectations for these people in Hangzhou, because there was already a minor grandmaster in Hangzhou, which was Lu Qingyun. Lu Qingyun's strength could be said to be very powerful in the eyes of ordinary people. But for Tang Yi, it was just mediocre. The people who would attend this banquet tomorrow would definitely be below him, so it would not bring him much excitement. However, he hadn't seen a large group of martial artists for a long time, so he could go and see these martial arts juniors. If he had the opportunity, he could give them some pointers. Tang Yi's fingers moved on the screen, and he quickly replied with a message. Okay. After this text message was sent, Tang Yi turned off his phone. He finished the red wine in his glass and enjoyed the hard-won peace. At this time, Song Qin in the room suddenly let out a long moan. He got up and walked over. Song Qin's face was rosy, and it seemed that the effects of the aphrodisiac had not yet dissipated. Song Qin in the quilt kept twisting her body, and she kept calling Tang Yi's name. Tang Yi was also very helpless when he saw this, so he went to make her a cup of herbal medicine. After Song Qin drank the medicine, she calmed down after a while. Only then did Tang Yi breathe a sigh of relief. Then he returned to the sofa, sat on the sofa with his legs crossed, and began to meditate. In this natural spiritual energy location of the floating cloud villa, he could feel infinite power. It seemed that there was constant spiritual power entering Tang Yi's body from all directions. He had already broken through the Grandmaster level. He was advancing towards an even more unfathomable realm. This was not something that a Grandmaster or even a Great Grandmaster could catch up to. It was even 4 or 5 unfathomable realms higher than a Great Grandmaster. He sat there quietly, like a pine tree, without moving at all. After sitting for more than 10 minutes, he opened his eyes, and the surrounding air vibrated. It seemed that he had achieved great success. The 8 Extremities School was just a relatively prominent school in Hangzhou's martial arts scene. Precisely because its head was Lu Qingyun, it was particularly famous. The disciples of the 8 Extremities School did not only learn 8 Extremities fists. For them, The 5 elements, 8 trigrams, and Shimenduanjia were all required courses. More advanced ones related to feng shui required certain psychological qualities and experience to learn. In Hangzhou, many people wanted to send their children to the 8 extremities school, but they didn't have the opportunity. Some people even wanted to go through the back door, but there were far more people going through the back door than through the regular channels. Arranged from top to bottom, the disciples here were divided into 12 levels. The lower the level of the disciples, the more they could only do some odd jobs in the 8 extremities school. But the higher-ranking disciples were not simple. They would be sent to martial arts competitions around the world, or they would become the bodyguards of those famous entrepreneurs in Hangzhou. Generally, Lu Qingyun would not personally act as a bodyguard. The price of his most advanced disciples as bodyguards started at least 1 million yuan. Therefore, his business here was basically monopolized by some high-level entrepreneurs every year. It was difficult for some people to get even 1 or 2 masters. Today's banquet was not just as simple as it seemed. People from various schools gathered here. Tai Chi, Bagua, Amei, Kongtong Shaolin, and so on. Although they were wearing Taoist robes on the surface, the watches they wore on their wrists and the luxury cars they drove were all worth millions. On the surface, they were here to attend a gathering, but in fact, they wanted to participate in the business under Lu Qingyun. If they could gain some benefits from it, it would be a considerable income in Hangzhou. At this time, a taxi stopped in front of the gate of the dojo. The disciples who were greeting guests at the door were suddenly stunned. Who had the guts to park a taxi in front of their dojo? Didn't they know that today was a big day for their dojo? Suddenly, more than a dozen people came out one after another and surrounded the taxi. When the car door opened and Tang Yi stepped out, everyone looked at him furiously. The taxi driver on the side was also stunned. He then realized that this was Lu Qingyun's gate. Chapter 83. Seeing Tang Yi get out of the car, the taxi driver cursed him a few times in his heart. This ignorant thing was courting death. Don't drag him down with him? Through the car window, he saw several people's eyes staring at Tang Yi. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he quickly drove away. The other disciples surrounded Tang Yi as if they were street punks fighting. Each one clenched their fists, furious. The guests exchanged glances, and they were all shocked by Tang Yi. Oh, who is this? Doesn't he know that Master Lu is hosting a grand banquet today, inviting all the prominent figures in Hangzhou? This shabby kid actually dared to park his car here. Isn't this a blatant slap in Lu Qingyun's face? The passing guests, seeing Tang Yi like this, all had the look of watching a show, ready to see how the Lu family would deal with this kid. One of the disciples wearing a white Taoist robe took a deep breath, stepped forward, and said, "Today is our master's big day. We don't want to cause any trouble, so please leave here." The white-robed disciple raised his eyebrows and tried to persuade him nicely. Behind him were all prominent masters, so generosity in public was always a way to show magnanimity. Recently, it has been said that the 8 extremities school values both moral character and academic excellence and lives in harmony. Today, someone dared to park his car here, deliberately causing trouble. The disciples of the 8 extremities school still let this ignorant thing go. It seems that what is said is true. Everyone whispered to each other, feeling a sense of joy in their hearts. These masters who came to attend the banquet today were all trying to curry favor with the recently popular 8 extremities school. Seeing that the disciples under the 8 extremities school were so generous, it must be because their master taught them well. It was inevitable to think that Lu Qingyun must also be a very open-minded person. Such a person, yet someone came in a taxi, losing face. It seemed that it was not unjust for this kid to be taught a lesson today. Tang Yi glanced at the disciple in front of him. From his tightly furrowed brows and sharp eyes, Tang Yi shook his head and smiled. "I think you've misunderstood. Master Lu invited me here today." Master Lu? Everyone's hands involuntarily covered their surprised mouths, and their whole bodies were like being electrocuted, completely stunned. This kid actually called Lu Qingyun old friend? Among those present were various masters, as well as some entrepreneurs with a little bit of power in Hangzhou. Their family heads did not dare to call Lu Qingyun a friend. Even, there were some old men with gray hair and beards in their 50s or 60s. And when they heard this, their eyes lit up. They all called Lu Qingyun martial uncle, grandmaster. In this regard, they couldn't help but be curious about the young man in front of them. It's simply nonsense. Do you know who our master is? Just a person like you dares to call him a friend? You ruined our good mood today, and you dare to spread rumors here. The white-robed man, who had been amiable just now, suddenly became furious. Such a low-class person actually called his master a friend? Where did that leave these disciples? It was not his master's face that was being slapped, but the face of the entire Qingyun school. Everyone also suddenly woke up as if from a dream. It turned out that this kid was talking nonsense here. They almost fell for it. That's right. How could a master like Lu Qingyun have such a friend? Tang Yi said calmly. So you don't believe it? It's not that we don't believe it. What you said is simply bullshit. The white-robed man raised his arm with wide eyes and pointed at Tang Yi. This brat, it seemed obvious that he was here to make trouble. The white-robed man was already prepared. If he didn't leave, he would beat this kid away with sticks. Presumably, everyone had seen this kid's unreasonable behavior, and it would certainly not be a loss of face for the Eight Extremities School. Some guest who couldn't stand it said sarcastically, "Young hero, why are you wasting your breath with such a person? In my opinion, it's better to just do it. We other schools are watching. It was this kid who first made trouble here and disturbed the peace. Even if you beat this kid away, we won't say anything more." With the guest speaking up, the white-robed man felt even more confident. However, in order to show the generosity of their Eight Extremities School, the white-robed man smiled at everyone and said, "Everyone, I didn't handle this well today. If I have offended anyone, please don't blame me." Everyone smiled and said, "The Eight Extremities School's moral character and academic excellence. We have already experienced it. This kid is really too presumptuous today, so you don't need to consider us." The white-robed man revealed an imperceptible smile. He turned around and waved his finger at the disciple beside him. "Do it." A taller disciple beside him nodded. After receiving the order, he clenched his fist and walked straight over. His muscles were bulging, and his fists were clenched so tightly that they creaked. He came to Tang Yi's side and grabbed his collar. Tang Yi's hands were behind his back, and he didn't make any resistance, because a disciple like this was not enough to pose any threat to him. He was here today to attend a banquet. If he hit a disciple of the Eight Extremities School, it would inevitably make Lu Qingyun lose face. The white-robed man sneered and said, "If you leave now, I can still spare your life. If you don't leave, I'll let my junior brother smash you into meat paste." I thought that the disciples of the Eight Extremities School would be as polite and humble as their ancestor, but I didn't expect that they didn't learn the good things, but they learned to look down on people. Tang Yi raised his head and said with a faint smile. The white-robed disciple gritted his teeth angrily. "Junior brother, smash this kid hard." "Got it." This disciple was just about to exert force with his arm. But at this moment, an old-fashioned voice sounded. "Stop!" When this voice sounded, everyone's hearts trembled, and their eyes looked at the hall behind them. There stood an old man wearing a blue robe embroidered with a four-clawed flood dragon. His figure was very well proportioned. His beard was already gray, and he wore a string of Buddhist beads on his hand, but his eyes were full of auspicious energy. Who else could this old man be but Lu Qingyun? After receiving Tang Yi's guidance before, his entire aura from the inside out had undergone a powerful change. At this moment, he no longer had the evil aura brought by practicing the Eight Extremities fists. From beginning to end, he had a peaceful aura, which made people wonder, is this Lu Qingyun? So his appearance hasn't changed, but I always feel like something is wrong. Chapter 84. Let go. Through the figures of the crowd, seeing his disciple grabbing Tang Yi's collar, a touch of anger finally appeared on Lu Qingyun's old-fashioned face. With a loud shout, a powerful aura emanated from his entire body. Scared, the disciple immediately let go and knelt on the ground. The white-robed disciple saw that his master was furious, and immediately stepped forward, cupped his hands, and respectfully explained, "Master, please don't be angry. It was this kid who was very rude and dared to make trouble in front of our Eight Extremities School." Lu Qingyun took a deep breath, retracting the aura he had just released. He fiddled with the two iron balls in his hand and walked forward slowly. His gaze was sharp, as if he had a kind of disdain for everyone. The white-robed disciple was secretly delighted. It seemed that his master was really angry this time. This kid was probably going to be disemboweled today, but it didn't matter. Who told this kid to be ignorant and dare to talk nonsense in front of their 8 extremities school? Everyone also saw that Lu Qingyun was about to get angry. They also felt a strange sense of fear in their hearts. I knew it. How could the dignified head of the 8 extremities school, Lu Qingyun, be a seemingly amiable person? My first impression just now must have been an illusion. This is the real him. Some of the onlookers, feeling apprehensive, took a few steps back. At this moment, Tang Yi stood alone in front of the door, very prominently. However, there was not a trace of fear in his eyes, and there was even a little bit of joy. Lu Qingyun, at this moment, happened to arrive beside the white-robed disciple. He steadily raised his arm, and with a swift and decisive movement, he slapped the disciple's face. "Kneel!" This shout made everyone present tremble with fear. The white-robed disciple was so scared that he shivered, and a surprised expression appeared on his face. "Master, you are..." Before he could finish his words, bang! A sound of fist hitting flesh. Before the white-robed disciple could react, he was slapped to the ground by Lu Qingyun. This move perfectly embodied speed, accuracy, and ruthlessness. Of all the people present, except for Tang Yi, no one could clearly see the speed of Lu Qingyun's move. When they looked over, the white-robed disciple's entire body had been crippled, and he was lying limply on the ground like a dead dog. Everyone was puzzled, but no one dared to stand up. The white-robed disciple spat out a mouthful of blood. "Master, why? Young friend Tang is a benefactor of mine. You actually dared to treat him so rudely, and even dared to attack him. I think you don't want to live anymore." A fierce expression appeared on Lu Qingyun's face, but he quickly calmed down, as if nothing had happened. He put the iron balls in his hand into his pocket, extended both hands, and quickly stepped forward, saying cheerfully, "Young friend Tang, why didn't you say something before you came? I would have come to greet you personally." This scene of sincere hospitality made everyone very surprised. Was this still the same Lu Qingyun from before? He could actually have such a kind and benevolent side. Conversely, they looked at the white-robed disciple lying on the ground, with all the bones in his body broken. Everyone swallowed. Even this person's internal strength was immeasurable. But looking back, Lu Qingyun was holding Tang Yi's hand and smiling like a little old man. Everyone couldn't help but start to wonder, who exactly was this kid? He actually dared to let Lu Qingyun, such an easily angered person, treat him like this? Lu Qingyun personally led Tang Yi to the back hall. Lu Qingyun's back hall was open air. There was a large martial arts arena here, about 10 meters wide, with railings on all sides. There was a large boa pattern in the middle of the arena, and there were several disciples on the side who were competing. However, these disciples were wearing different Taoist robes, and it seemed that they were also from various schools. Lu Qingyun held Tang Yi's hand and led him to a seat of honor. "Young friend Tang, today this only seat of honor. No one is more suitable than you," Lu Qingyun said, making a gesture of invitation toward the chair in front of him. Everyone was very puzzled when they saw this scene. Today, Lu Qingyun called them here, ostensibly for a gathering. But in fact, it was also for a martial arts competition. For so many years, Lu Qingyun had been very successful in martial arts competitions, so he would hold a martial arts competition every year, specifically to show off the prestige of their 8 extremities school. And this kid in front of him was still so young. Even if he was Lu Qingyun's benefactor, he didn't seem to have any skills. To let him sit in the first seat was a bit too disrespectful to others. There was always a rule in the martial arts world: the able occupy the position, the incompetent retreat. So even if this kid had a good relationship with Lu Qingyun, his sitting here inevitably made many people feel dissatisfied. But Tang Yi did not hesitate, calmly said thank you, and sat directly on the chair. He also picked up the tea on the side, took a sip, and said, "The taste of this tea is very light." But Lu Qingyun was a little flustered. Who was responsible for pouring the tea today? Drag out the address of the person who poured the tea today and give him 50 heavy strokes. Men, quickly change young friend Tang's tea to the best and most expensive, Lu Qingyun said to the disciple beside him, staring. The disciple beside him didn't dare to neglect and ran out with small steps. But after a while, the sound of someone being beaten was heard in the courtyard. Tang Yi smiled and said, "Old friend Lu, you don't have to be so angry. I just said that this tea is very light, and it is very helpful for your recovery. Since young friend Tang says so, then I will prepare some more of this tea today." Lu Qingyun smiled and sat beside Tang Yi, agreeing without hesitation. Everyone else really couldn't stand it anymore. Among them, a sect leader with a relatively high status stood up and said, "Master Lu, we are here today to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of each family. Now that most of the time has passed, how much longer will it take to start?" This sect leader was the head of the Tai Chi school, Zhang Wusan. The status of the Tai Chi school in Hangzhou was comparable to that of the Eight Extremities school. It was just that in the past 2 years, the Eight Extremities school had received commercial support, and its reputation had soared. The real skills of the Tai Chi school were not inferior to those of the Eight Extremities school, but it had just undergone a change of dynasty and had not yet stabilized, which was why the Eight Extremities school had the opportunity to become the #1 in Hangzhou. Lu Qingyun stood up. He raised his arm and pointed to the arena in front of him, saying, "Every year, you all compete first, and then it's the turn of my disciples. Today, I think this rule should be changed. I'll let my disciple stand on it. If any of you can defeat him, you can take the title of #1 in Hangzhou." This Lu Qingyun actually dared to be so arrogant? Everyone was very angry in their hearts, glaring at him. Chapter 85. And at this moment, a man in his 30s with a strong build, wearing a black Taoist robe, revealed 2 large pectoral muscles to everyone. He clenched his fists and stood straight on the arena. He seemed to be waiting for someone to challenge him. Lu Qingyun took 2 steps forward, pointed to the man on the arena, and said, "This is my senior disciple, named Fusang. Today, I have a distinguished guest here, so it is inconvenient for me to take action personally. If you are interested, you can let my disciple entertain you on my behalf." After saying that, Lu Qingyun sat down beside Tang Yi and looked at the arena with Tang Yi. Everyone looked at Fusang, who was wearing a black Taoist robe on the arena, and their hearts itched. Since the old one wasn't taking action, then they would bully this one. Someone couldn't hold back anymore. With a few leaps, he jumped onto the arena. "I am not talented, but I would like to ask for your guidance." A disciple of the whale shark school stood on the arena and assumed a starting stance. "Please." Fusang cupped his hands and revealed a disdainful smile. He didn't take the disciples of these various schools seriously. The disciple of the whale shark school was also impolite. He threw a punch at Fusang's face, the punch carrying wind. Unfortunately, Fusang caught it with one hand. He just gently flicked his fingers and twisted the disciple's wrist. The crisp sound of bones breaking made everyone's hearts tremble. The disciple who just went up to challenge is the senior disciple of the whale shark school. So, they are both senior disciples, but the gap between them is not ordinary. At this moment, everyone seemed to know the outcome of this battle. As expected, after twisting the disciple's arm, Fusang kicked him off the arena. Even several of the railing poles on the arena were kick-broken. This result was also expected by everyone, so it was not very surprising. Anyone else? Is this the only one? It seems that today's martial arts competition has attracted some cowards. If you really have the ability, jump up and fight me. Otherwise, don't call yourselves a school in the future. Fusang had won a battle, and he was very arrogant at this moment. His gaze swept over the crowd below. Just at this moment, another disciple rushed forward and rolled directly onto the arena. He was very thin, very tall, and had 2 swords on his back. This person was a disciple of the Double Sword School. The reputation of the Double Sword School had not been very high in the martial arts world in the past 2 years. Only a few disciples were produced in each generation. They were surprised that they could come to the competition today. Is this a disciple of the Double Sword School? I heard that although the Double Sword School has not had much reputation in recent years, their disciples are becoming more and more powerful. I wonder if this kid can beat this senior disciple? Nonsense, didn't you see that this kid has 2 long swords on his back? So, what if he has swords? A real master. Even if you have a gun in your hand, can't do anything to him. The audience whispered and discussed. Lu Qingyun on the side was still calm. After taking a sip of tea, he said to Tang Yi beside him, "Young friend, what do you think of this battle? I only know a little about martial arts. I won't make any rash comments. Tang Yi smiled and said modestly. In Tang Yi's eyes, this kind of competition between opponents was like children fighting. As long as no one was beaten to tears, he didn't seem to care too much. Lu Qingyun saw through everything, stroked his beard, and said, "Young friend Tang is still too modest. Others don't know your strength, but how can I not know?" Tang Yi smiled and looked calmly at the arena, without replying to Lu Qingyun's words. On the arena, the man drew his double swords, one on the left and one on the right, and attacked Fusang. His swordsmanship was excellent, and his speed was also very fast. The swordsmanship of the double sword school emphasized speed and change. The moves were dripping, but also unpredictable. Fusang could only dodge by jumping and rolling. Sure enough, the double sword school has been silently improving in the past 2 years. There's no other way compared to us. Their martial arts are all killing techniques. Martial arts are inherently for killing. It depends on how you use them. It seems that the outcome of this battle should be the victory of the double sword school. Everyone seemed a little happy in their hearts. They had always wanted to see Fusang's defeat. As long as Fusang lost, Lu Qingyun would definitely lose face. And it also meant that the 8 Extremity School was definitely not good enough. Some people look back at Lu Qingyun. He didn't seem to care too much about his disciple being at a disadvantage, and he was still calmly drinking water. Some people thought in their hearts, this old thing is really calm. But at the next moment, a figure suddenly flew out of the arena, and the disciple of the double sword school fell heavily in front of Lu Qingyun. The whole person fainted directly. When everyone looked at the arena, there were 2 broken swords at Fusang's feet, and there was a disdainful smile on his face. That's it. Are there any more masters? If not, then today's martial arts competition doesn't need to continue. Oh no, I think it's unnecessary to hold martial arts competitions in the future. My 8 Extremity School is #1 in the world. The audience below all lowered their heads. It seemed that no one dared to go up and fight again. Seeing that 2 disciples had been easily defeated, the others also knew that if they sent any more disciples up, it would undoubtedly be a slap in their own faces. And at this moment, a sigh sounded in the crowd. Sigh. At this moment, everyone's eyes looked back. Lu Qingyun, who was just about to drink water, stopped at his mouth and also raised his eyes to look at Tang Yi beside him. "Young friend Tang, why are you sighing?" Tang Yi smiled and said, "I'm just here to show my support today. I don't need to watch this level of martial arts anymore. Old friend, I have something to do today, so I won't stay any longer." This game of watching children fight was really too boring for someone like Tang Yi. Tang Yi stood up and said to Lu Qingyun beside him. But the speaker was unintentional, while the listener was attentive. Not only were the people from those schools unhappy when they heard this, even Fusang on the arena, who had just won a few battles, was also uncomfortable. Did this kid understand martial arts? He actually dared to boast here, saying that this was a small fight. This was an annual martial arts competition. The winner could establish a great position in Hangzhou. Lu Qingyun nodded. He could also understand that Tang Yi was just here to show his support today. There was no need to stay here. And at this moment, an arrogant voice suddenly sounded from the arena. "Don't go!" Chapter 86. Tang Yi glanced at him, and a powerful internal force surged from behind him. Fusang felt a gust of cold wind blowing towards him, making the long hair on both sides of his head shiver with coldness. He felt a chill in his heart and regretted his arrogance just now. But just when everyone gasped, thinking that Su Mu was going to make a move, Tang Yi cupped his hands and said, "Old friend, I'll take my leave now." No one dared to say anything more, and Tang Yi quickly left. The next day, early morning, at the floating cloud villa, on the sofa in the living room, Tang Yi sat leisurely with his legs crossed, circulating his energy and adjusting his breath. He narrowed his eyes, feeling the natural spiritual energy layout of the floating cloud villa. Wonderful. It was too wonderful. At this time, the sound of a phone call suddenly rang. It was Song Qin calling. Tang Yi took the phone from the table and pressed answer. "Hello, Master Tang. The Song family, seem to have a clue about the thing you asked me to investigate before." Tang Yi's eyes slowly opened, and he took a deep breath. "Send me the address. I'll go myself," Tang Yi said calmly. "Okay." After a while, Tang Yi's phone received the address sent by Song Qin. The Zheng family. The Zheng family of Hangzhou. Tang Yi had heard Song Qin mention it. In Hangzhou, the Zheng family controlled the largest shipping industry. Relying on several airports, they had firmly established a solid foundation in Hangzhou. In recent years, with the development of technology, the Zheng family's strength had also increased day by day. Now they had acquired many other shipping industries. The Zheng family could be said to be truly powerful. Their strength was also as stable as a mountain, and it was difficult for ordinary families to shake it. When he was in prison, Tang Yi only knew that there was such a family, but he didn't know much about their strength. However, he wasn't very concerned about whether their strength was good or bad. He just wanted to complete the several things that the person had entrusted him with when he was in prison. Retrieving this thing was also one of these things. Soon, he arrived at the Zheng family's manor, the Sky Peak Manor. This place was generally very hidden. If the Song family didn't have some strength, they wouldn't have had the opportunity to know that there was such a large manor here. A golden gate was placed in front of Tang Yi. His small body appeared very thin in front of this gate. As soon as he arrived here, Tang Yi felt that there were many pinhole-sized eyes staring at him quietly. But he didn't pay much attention, stepped forward, and walked towards the gate. Just as he raised his hand and was about to knock on the door, a security guard's voice suddenly sounded behind him. "Who are you? Do you think you can knock on the door of the Zheng family?" The security guard held a baton in his hand and pointed at Tang Yi. Tang Yi turned around, glanced at the security guard, and said, "I'm here to see Master Zheng and retrieve something of mine. Please tell Master Zheng that if he's had enough looking, he should return it. If I have to go in and get it myself, that's a different matter." The security guard was stunned. His gaze swept over Tang Yi's body from top to bottom. Who was this kid, talking so arrogantly? This was the Zheng family. Wasn't he afraid of being beaten to death for talking like this? But fortunately, this security guard didn't make things too difficult for him. He actually went back to the guard booth, picked up the phone, and dialed a number. Seeing the security guard say a few cowardly words, he hung up the phone. "Kid, wait here for a while. Our master has some important things to do right now." Tang Yi frowned. "How long will it take? How would I know? Who dares to ask about our master's affairs? If you have the ability, call him yourself. TCH, I doubt you have the ability. How could someone like you have our master's phone number?" The security guard's eyes were full of disdain. As the saying goes, when one person attains the Tao, even chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. After the Zheng family gained power, even the dog guarding the gate was so arrogant, completely ignoring Tang Yi. A trace of unintentional killing intent appeared in Tang Yi's eyes. But fortunately, he wouldn't stoop to the level of such a small person. It was just that the person had said when he was in prison that as long as he said he was here to retrieve something, the Zheng family would definitely not put on airs. If they did it deliberately, then they must be guilty. After half an hour, there was still no news. Tang Yi came to the guard booth and asked, "How much longer?" The security guard cracked sunflower seeds and revealed a meaningful sneer. "Aya, you should go back. It seems that our master has something to do today and won't see you." "What did you say?" Tang Yi clenched his fists, and the sound of creaking knuckles could be heard. He had already guessed that there was probably something wrong with this Master Zheng. "What? Wasn't I clear enough? Our master doesn't have time to see a nobody like you. You should get lost as soon as possible, or else when our master gets angry, you'll be in for a world of hurt." In the security guard's eyes, he felt that teasing Tang Yi could comfort his psychology and that humiliating him could increase his sense of accomplishment. But at the next moment, he heard a loud bang. A large hole was smashed in his guard booth, and in this large hole, a big hand grabbed his collar and directly lifted him out. "You!" Before the security guard could finish speaking, he was thrown by Tang Yi like a sandbag and smashed into the gate. The gate, which was 50 centimeters thick, was instantly smashed with a large dent, and the security guard's entire body was embedded in the dent. His eyes rolled back, and he foamed at the mouth. "Since when did dogs like you dare to bark so freely? Today, if the Zheng family doesn't hand over the thing, their fate will be even worse than yours." But Tang Yi had no intention of stopping. He flew up and kicked the thick gate open. He clenched his fists, his eyes full of killing intent. Every step he took in the courtyard left a deep footprint. Before this, Tang Yi didn't want to use force. He just wanted to bring that thing back intact and complete the things that the person had entrusted him with. However, he didn't expect that after a few years, this Zeng family had already started to act shamelessly. He really didn't expect them to play such a dirty trick. However, it was also to Tang Yi's liking. Since they wanted to play, then Tang Yi would play with them. Suddenly, more than a dozen security guards holding batons appeared in front of Tang Yi. "Who the hell are you? Daring to make trouble in the Zeng family?" One of the security captains stepped forward, pointed at Tang Yi, and scolded. "I want to see your master." Tang Yi's eyes were full of evil spirits, and he said coldly, "Do you think you can see our master just because you want to?" Chapter 87. "So, we're going to fight? So, what if we fight? There are so many of us. Are we afraid of you? Brothers, let's go." The security captain waved the baton in his hand and said with a sneer. But when he reacted, the next second, the baton in his hand was grabbed by an invisible force. "This is—" The security guard looked up, and at some point, Tang Yi had come before him. He was tightly gripping his baton. Bang! A clear sound rang out. In front of him, a thick baton was directly crushed. What kind of strength is this? The security captain was so scared that he let go. Just as he was retreating, Tang Yi punched him in the face. This punch landed on the bridge of his nose, and Tang Yi's fist sunk into his face. The next moment, in the crowd, a figure flew out. "Let's go together. I'm in a hurry." Tang Yi shook his arm and said unhurriedly, "Damn it, do you really think you're something? Brothers, let's go together and take him down." All the security guards opened their mouths wide, surging forward and shouting, raising the batons in their hands and rushing towards Tang Yi. Tang Yi took a deep breath. Then he assumed a starting stance. And on the other side, on the balcony of the villa, sat two people chatting and laughing. One of them, with a square face and large ears, and a full face, was the head of the Zeng family, Zeng Zhong. He picked up his teacup and took a sip. He narrowed his eyes, looked at Tang Yi in the courtyard, who was fighting with several security guards, and smiled. He took a light sip of tea, and then looked at the man in front of him. "Masterly, do you think the person below has the qualifications to be your opponent?" The man in front of him had a long braid behind him, wore a brown robe, and had a very calm demeanor. His eyes were like cold stars, and there was a heroic spirit between his eyebrows. He was young, probably less than 30 years old, but Zeng Zhong respected him extraordinarily. This was the Li family's master Li Xingyun, the inheritor of Dragon Fist. His reputation was very well known. Although he was not old, as the sole inheritor, he had practiced Dragon Fist to an almost supreme level. Even some people in the martial arts world were already saying that this would be the only peerless genius in 100 years. Perhaps before long, he would become the true number one in Hangzhou. However, this person's character was one of vanity. For money and status, he had once protected some entrepreneurs in Hangzhou. In just 3 months, he had secretly killed hundreds of people, but no trace of his involvement could be found. And for this person, after gaining a certain status, he basically never protected anyone again. But this time, the person who invited him was the head of the Zeng family, Zeng Zhong. This was a considerable sum of money, and he could even take the opportunity to enhance his status in the martial arts world. So he would not miss it. "Master Zeng, I thought you were looking for me for something important. I didn't expect you to be scared witless by such a kid." Master Li took a sip of tea, glanced at Tang Yi in the courtyard, and revealed a disdainful smile. This kid's skills were just mediocre. Apart from using brute force, he didn't seem to be anything special. Among those he knew, he had never seen this kid's figure, and he had never even heard of this kid's crude and unbearable fist techniques. Then he must not be a master. "Master Li, you're joking. It's just that this kid has some strength. For safety's sake, you understand." A smile appeared on Zeng Zhong's calm face. "What's there to be afraid of? With me here today, this kid won't get close to you," Master Li said with a guarantee. Zeng Zhong picked up his teacup and said to Master Li, "Ha ha ha ha. With Master Li here, of course, I won't be afraid." Zeng Zhong did not tell Master Li about the thing. In Tang Yi, he could always think of that person's figure. Every time he thought of it, he always felt a strange panic in his heart, like a long sword, held at his throat, ready to kill him at any time. However, thinking that that person had been missing in the martial arts world for many years, and it was rumored that he was already dead, Zeng Zhong's uneasy heart also calmed down. And just as the two were talking, suddenly, a security guard flew up directly from the courtyard and smashed towards the two of them. Zheng Zhong was stunned. Before he could react, he only heard a bang. Master Li caught the security guard with one hand and slowly placed him on the ground. Master Zheng, it seems it's time for me to make a move. Master Li stood up and stared at Tang Yi in the courtyard. The two looked at each other, and Master Li had a feeling of longing for an opponent. He came to the courtyard. The dozens of other security guards were all lying on the ground, motionless. But their eyes were still open, and they had not suffered any injuries. This was Tang Yi's acupoint tapping technique. It just made them suffer a little, and it wouldn't affect their lives. He was just here to get something today, and he didn't want to involve innocent people. Are the people of the Zheng family all like this when they treat guests? Tang Yi pinched a security guard's neck and said to the two people in front of him. Seeing the two of them walking over, he casually threw the security guard on the ground. Interesting. This scene made Master Li's eyes light up. It seems that you are not only good at using brute force, I didn't expect you to know acupoint tapping techniques. In this move, he could express his power freely, and with 2 fingers, he could tap each security guard's acupoint. The movement of tapping the acupoints was also so calm and accurate. The skill of tapping acupoints was not considered strange, but to be able to control the power of each time so well among more than a dozen security guards, and to grasp the timing of tapping acupoints so accurately, such skill could not be achieved overnight. It was like making tea. The taste was neither too strong nor too light, just right. This could only be achieved through the accumulation of time. In this way, there was still some reason why Master Zheng could find him. However, he had just casually thrown a security guard towards the balcony. If he hadn't been able to catch it with one hand, all 3 of them would have been killed instantly with that kind of force. This kid's moves were quite ruthless. It didn't seem like he was here to get something, but rather to massacre the whole family. Master Li, what do you think? Zheng Zhong still couldn't help but ask. He's just a beginner, Master Zheng. You don't need to worry. Master Li stepped forward 2 steps. He stood in front of Tang Yi with his hands behind his back. Chapter 88. The security guard saw the approaching person and suddenly raised their eyebrows. A breeze came, and the airflow was like the cold wind of winter. Blowing on the face, it was as if a sickle had cut through the skin, making people feel inexplicably horrified and shudder. Master Li stood there, standing like a pine tree, with well-developed chest muscles and a small braid behind him, swaying in the wind. His eyes were like cold stars, and a playful smile appeared on his lips. Is this Master Li? Master Li? In the crowd, someone recognized him and lost control of his surprised expression. Are you sure you didn't mistake him? Nonsense, this is the famous Master Li, one of the 3 great masters in Hangzhou. Master Li, who is as famous as Lu Qingyun, and is younger than him, and his strength is even above his. Such a person, how could I mistake him? How dare I mistake him? At this moment, everyone gasped, almost fainting from excitement. They might have only heard of Master Li's reputation. That's right. Being able to hear about him was already good enough, because such a person was generally unknown to the public. There were no photos of him circulating in the martial arts world or in the media, not a single one. He disdained publicity and never exposed himself to the public eye. Such a person was unfathomable. But the people who had truly seen him in action were basically his most loyal fans. Some people even spent a lot of money just to be able to say a word to him. Not to mention those martial arts families who would go bankrupt just to comprehend a move or two, which was very worthwhile. Everyone, step back. The security captain waved the baton in his hand and quickly retreated to the back. Captain, aren't we going to help? A young security guard whispered in the captain's ear. Are you crazy? This is a battle between masters. A small person like you had better stay as far away as possible. If you're not careful, you'll become cannon fodder. The captain glanced at the young man beside him. This kid really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, and he even thought about going up to help. They were already very lucky to be able to see this level of battle once. Go up and help? Don't even think about it. On the side, Zheng Zhong revealed a meaningful smile. Master Li was less than 30 years old this year, and he had already obtained the title of master. This could be said to be unprecedented in the entire Hangzhou. This time, he had spent a lot of money to be able to invite Master Li. Basically, he had spent all of this year's profits just to be able to invite Master Li to make a move. This time, with Master Li taking action, he had no worries. Looking at Master Li's elegant back, the wrinkles on Zheng Zhong's old-fashioned face squeezed together in a smile. Kid, this is not a place you can afford to offend. Today, get out of here obediently, and I'll spare your life, Master Li said calmly. In his eyes, there was no place for Tang Yi. In his eyes, this young man in front of him was about the same age as himself. At most, he was a year or two younger than him. He firmly believed that there were indeed many geniuses in this world, but a genius like him, who had reached the level of a master at such a young age, was perhaps the only one. From the good use of force in those few silver needles just now, and some of his fierce punches, he was indeed a talent. However, he was definitely not at the master level. As long as he was not at the master level, in Master Li's eyes, everything was just floating clouds. Therefore, the first time he saw Tang Yi, he put on a very high posture. He directly wished he could step on Tang Yi tightly under his feet. Get out of the way. Tang Yi's gaze had been fixed on Zheng Zhong, behind Master Li. In his eyes, the other irrelevant people were not taken seriously at all. Moreover, his purpose today was to find Zheng Zhong. If there was anyone blocking him, then, when it was absolutely necessary, Tang Yi would step over their bodies one by one. Tang Yi clenched his fists, and the killing intent in his eyes was already taking shape. Zheng Zhong, the thing is not yours. You'd better hand it over obediently, otherwise your life will end today. Tang Yi's voice was very cold. It was as cold as the non-flowing ice water under the ice cellar. Kid, do you know who you're talking to? This is the Zheng family. I am the head of the Zheng family. Do you think I need to take your things? I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen anyone as shameless as you. Our Zheng family owns the richest shipping in the world. If I say I took your things, wouldn't that be slapping myself in the face in front of everyone? Zheng Zhong said with a smile. After speaking, a strange smile appeared under his thick eyelids. Even if I took your things, what can you do to me? Today you dare to make trouble in the Zheng family. I will let you know the consequences of making trouble. Whoa! Behind Zheng Zhong, two servants led 4 North American gray wolves. This was the largest existing wolf, weighing 180 pounds, and mainly lived in the forests of North America. The wolf's body was strong, and its muscle lines were clearly visible. Each strand of hair seemed to carry the dew of frost, cold and hard and full of luster. Its tail, with black and white fur, swayed with its movement, revealing a kind of arrogance and wildness. Several iron chains were tied around the wolf's neck, and the wolf's mouth was wearing a muzzle. Their mouths were drooling, and their eyes were fixed on Tang Yi. My little babies haven't eaten for several days. After Master Li breaks your hands and feet, I'll throw you into the wolf pack. Speaking of which, it's your honor to be eaten by my little babies. Zheng Zhong raised his eyebrows and said with a smile. He was also very much looking forward to the scene of Tang Yi being eaten by wolves. Everyone on the side couldn't help but shiver in fear. These were living wolves, the fiercest wolves in the world. One bite, and most of the internal organs would be bitten off. It seemed that this kid was really doomed. Zheng Zhong, looking at you. Are you obviously refusing to return it? Tang Yi sighed and asked. He still decided to give Zheng Zhong one last chance. But this opportunity, in his eyes, was a complete joke. Am I not obvious enough? Master Li, don't waste your breath with this kid. Just cripple him and feed him to the dogs. Zheng Zhong pointed at Tang Yi and said to Master Li requestingly. Chapter 89. Kid, it's not that I don't want to let you go. It seems that today, you must die here. Master Li's face revealed a fierce expression. Hearing this, Tang Yi narrowed his eyes. He glanced at Master Li and said, Are you also seeking death? It's a pity. You have cultivated the cultivation of a master with great difficulty. Tang Yi saw through it at a glance. This Master Li, who was praised by everyone, was only at the cultivation level of a master. But he had already surpassed the master level by more than a dozen levels. If this Master Li hadn't been buzzing in his ear, he wouldn't have noticed that this Master Li had any power. Seeking death? Ridiculous. A disdainful smile flashed across Master Li's face. Presumably, you haven't been out of the sect for long. No one in the martial arts world has even heard of your name. You're so arrogant when you're just starting out. Didn't your master tell you that doing so will cost you your life? Before the words fell, boom, a majestic aura suddenly burst out from Master Li's body. Powerful, domineering. The blue and white crushed stones under his feet cracked several times. The huge pressure and the airflow emanating from his whole body involuntarily made the people behind him close their eyes. This was the strength of a master, one of the three realms in Hangzhou. Immediately, Master Li did not hesitate. Boom! Only a loud bang was heard. A powerful force condensed in Master Li's hand. Even the yellow jacket on his arm had several tears, and the clothes on his entire arm were torn. Master Li's arm pulled back, stopping in mid-air. It seemed that there was a force of 1,000 pounds. Is this Dragon Fist? And when he saw Master Li's Shili movement, Tang Yi was stunned. Kid, it seems that you still know something. Tang Yi recognized the fist technique with just one movement. This surprised Master Li a little. Dragon Fist. Dragon Fist is a folk fist technique. This fist technique, compared with the Beggar clan's 18 dragon-subduing palms, has comparable power. It's just that the Beggar clan has declined in the past 2 years, so the 18 dragon-subduing palms have never appeared again. But this Dragon Fist, it is already well known, and has even replaced the position of the 18 dragon-subduing palms, becoming the #1 dragon at that time. Dragon Fist, coincidentally, it was also evolved from the 18 dragon-subduing palms. However, Dragon Fist is a fist technique used by some wealthy people. It just so happens to be opposed to the Beggar clan. This fist technique is extremely rigid and strong, but it is beneficial to oneself without any harm. The moves are sharp, and the fist technique is as fast as a meteor. A master-level user of this fist technique can achieve the effect of one-punch Tianzhong. In an instant, in front of everyone's eyes, they noticed a black figure flashing in place. The next second, Master Li disappeared from the spot. So fast, all the onlookers couldn't help but widen their mouths. They were deeply shocked by this divine speed. Suddenly, a stimulating cold wind blew around. This gust of wind clearly revealed Master Li's powerful charm. And at the next moment, Master Li appeared in front of Tang Yi. He came head-on, throwing the fist that had just been fully charged towards Tang Yi's chest. Tang Yi took a closer look. This was the move Flying Dragon in the Sky. In an instant, it could shake out a person's internal bones, and the bones of the whole body would fall apart, leaving only a limp body. A whirlwind condensed on the fist. Bang! Like a 1,000-pound bell, it landed on the ground with a bang. Tang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly. Since he was released from prison, the opponents he had encountered were all ordinary humans. And this time, facing a true martial artist, this was a good opportunity to prove his experience. There was a strange excitement in his heart. In the excitement, there was also a madness that had been suppressed for a long time. Tang Yi stood in place, without any intention of threatening him. He just puffed out his chest, condensed his internal force on his chest, and took this punch head-on. As the fists and flesh met, the surroundings suddenly became quiet. Everyone was staring, each one expecting the result. Kit. Noticing this scene, a touch of mockery flashed across Master Li's face. Facing my flying dragon in the sky, you didn't dodge? I saw that you had already noticed my fist technique. If you wanted to dodge, you still had a chance. But it's too late now. The power of Dragon Fist lies not in the fact that problems will appear in the body immediately after being hit. The first thing the body feels when hit by Dragon Fist is that the whole body feels soft. The next moment, all the bones of the whole body turn into powder, and the whole person loses support and collapses on the ground like a pool of water. It can be said that in Master Li's eyes, Tang Yi was now as good as dead. Just when Master Li was complacent, Zheng Zhong's voice came from behind him. Master Li is truly worthy of being a martial arts master. I really admire you. He didn't see clearly what happened just now, but judging from the momentum just now, the power of this punch would not be too bad. Perhaps Tang Yi had already lost consciousness and could not feel the pain. Kid, don't be stubborn. Your strength cannot withstand this punch. Rest in peace. Master Li retracted his fist. He rubbed his wrist. He used 10% of his strength in this punch. It was the greatest strength he had ever used. Using the fist as a hammer, exerting force from the waist, the whole person was like a sledgehammer. The fist broke through the air. making a sharp sound. Internal energy was released. No wonder Master Li was called a master. He had completely possessed the ability to release all his power in an instant. He concentrated all his internal energy together and burst it out all at once. Don't underestimate this seemingly simple move. But if you want to achieve 100% accuracy, it is impossible to complete it without talent. Tang Yi's face was calm. He took a deep breath, and he was stunned. That's it. I thought it was so powerful, but it didn't even break through my outermost layer of qi. When this punch came just now, Tang Yi condensed all his internal force and gathered it on his chest. He thought that this punch was fierce and its power must be considerable. But he didn't expect. When it hit his chest, it collided with the internal force emanating from his body. The internal force that flowed out of this body was equivalent to being excessive. A glass of water was full, but there was still a part of the water that had not been filled, and it would flow out. And the internal force that Master Li hit with all his might just now was the excess part of Tang Yi's body. You hit me with a punch, it's my turn to return a punch. Don't go back on your word. Tang Yi clenched his fist and said with a faint smile. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Chapter 90. Master Li's fist landed on Tang Yi's chest, but it didn't cause a single ripple. At this moment, a thought flashed through Master Li's mind. To be able to catch his punch so steadily in such a short time, then, this person's true strength was not only above his, but might even be 4 or 5 levels higher. He had used all his strength in that punch. If it were an ordinary person, they would be sent flying dozens of meters. If it were a cow, it would be killed on the spot. He didn't believe that such a young kid could possess strength far greater than his. He himself was already close to the peak. If Tang Yi in front of him was even more powerful, then this matter would be crazy. Crazy enough to be unbelievable. Could it be that this kid did have some cultivation, and in an instant, he gathered all his cultivation together to block this move? Thinking about it this way, it made sense. All right, then let's try again and see if this kid can take a second move. Master Li retracted his fist. He changed his strength and spread his legs. One hand formed a fist, the other a palm. Boom! Between the change of fist and palm, a dragon's roar sounded. Dragon fights in the wild. Yah! The veins on Master Li's arms bulged. After images appeared, and if it weren't for someone with cultivation, it would be impossible to see his true form. The muscles on his arms bulged, as if he had the strength of 9 bulls and 2 tigers. He punched out, as if with the power of thunder. On the side, the corner of Zheng Zhong's mouth curled up slightly, and he stroked his goatee. His eyes narrowed, waiting for the result of the battle. He didn't expect Master Li to actually use this move. Once, Master Li's master had specifically instructed him not to use such a cruel move unless he encountered a true master. Master Li was now nearly 30 years old. It had been 15 years since he learned this move. He hadn't used this move for 15 years. Although this move was second only to Regretful Dragon and Dragon Fist, its power should not be underestimated. Zheng Zhong held his breath. He wanted to take a good look at this move that hadn't appeared in the martial arts world for many years. Perhaps it was only for a moment. For ordinary people, this moment would take at least 50 years of practice. But for a master like Master Li, it only took 15 years to master it. Many people dreamed of seeing it with their own eyes. To be able to see it today was a great fortune. Is this the legendary dragon fights in the wild? I heard that those who have seen this move are already dead. Today, we have the opportunity to see Master Li unleash such a unique move. It's truly amazing. The security captain was already dumbfounded, and he couldn't be bothered to tell everyone to step back. For small figures like them, being able to see such a fierce battle was even more exciting than winning 10 million. In the fountain pool on the side, the fish also felt the powerful airflow and kept jumping out of the water. The ripples in the water had turned into bouncing water droplets. Tang Yi stood calmly in front of Master Li. Ah! Bang! Master Li's tearing fist struck. Bang! Suddenly, Tang Yi stretched out a hand and directly caught Master Li's fist. The flying sand and rocks, everything that was flying up, all calmed down at this moment. Everyone took a deep breath and stared at the two people in front of them. The cold aura on the fist made Master Li's heart feel a chill. His punch, which he had thrown with all his strength, was actually caught by Tang Yi with an expressionless face. At this moment, Master Li's heart changed from doubt to collapse. He couldn't accept the fact in front of him for a while. This move, which he was so proud of, seemed like a scratch in Tang Yi's eyes. Master Li withdrew his fist and took 2 steps back. Master Li, this? What's going on? How could you not be able to beat this kid? No. This must be Master Li. You want to play a trick on him? You did this on purpose, to make a joke with us. Right? Zheng Zhong panicked. He couldn't calm down when he saw the scene. Master Li's dragon fist, dragon fights in the wild, was actually caught so easily. And that person was unharmed. How was this possible? On the opposite side, a playful smile appeared on Tang Yi's face. Dragon fights in the wild, I haven't seen such a move for a long time. I didn't expect it to be so mediocre when I see it again. Mediocre? Zheng Zhong, behind Master Li, was so scared that he stuttered when he heard this. He opened his mouth wide, let out a soft ah, and involuntarily took 2 steps back. The resounding and majestic dragon fist. How many people envied it? How many people longed for it but couldn't get it? And how many people wanted to witness its elegance? Such a fist technique that everyone in the martial arts world admired, and Tang Yi's mouth was actually mediocre. At this moment, an illusion appeared in Zheng Zhong's eyes. Could this kid be that person's? No. That person had long since disappeared from the martial arts world and couldn't appear again. With that person's age or status, how could he possibly take such a young man as his disciple? However, the killing intent revealed in Tang Yi's eyes just now was even stronger than that person's oppressive feeling. Master Li. Zheng Zhong wanted to stop Master Li, but words spoken are like water poured out. Things had already come to this. If he asked Master Li to stop, wouldn't that be telling others that the Zheng family was afraid of this kid? Moreover, Master Li hadn't lost yet. Master Zheng, don't be afraid. I still have one more move, Master Li said in a deep and powerful voice. Master Zheng's eyes were stunned. Master Li, you mean? That's right. The ultimate move of Dragon Fist, Regretful Dragon. Dragon Fist, 3 moves. Flying Dragon in the Sky as the starting move, Dragon Fights in the Wild as the collapsing move, and Regretful Dragon as the palm. 3 moves combined, great perfection of cultivation. If an ordinary person could master Flying Dragon in the Sky within 15 years, they would already be considered powerful. Mastering Dragon Fights in the Wild within 30 years, they would be called a genius. If they could comprehend Regretful Dragon within 50 years, they would be a true master. Tang, he said with interest. Oh, it seems you're ready to get serious? That's the way it should be. Otherwise, I wouldn't be interested. Tang, he shook his fists. He made a starting move of Tai Chi. His legs spread apart, his palms rose and fell. He exhaled a breath of immortal chi.